If the world hates you, just remember that it has hated me first. If you belong to the world, then the world would love you as its own. But I chose you from this world, and you do not belong to it. That is why the world hates you. Whoever hates me, hates my father also. They would not have been guilty of sin if I had not done among them the things that no one else ever did. As it is, they have seen what I did, and they hate both me and my father. They hated me for no reason at all.
We are here. One Piece, 11:57 predictions open mic stream. Yo, how we doing, chat? How we doing? How we doing, guys? God bless everyone here. How we doing? How we doing? There we go. There's the soundboard. How we doing, chat? How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. Glad to see you guys here. Guys, we do have the stream elements pinned at the top of the stream chat. For those of you that want to go above and beyond, supporting the channel, supporting me as a creator. So I look forward to seeing some super chats. It's a lot better than YouTube super chats or YouTube memberships. YouTube takes all of it. But yeah, I'm glad to see you guys here. If you guys need the link for the open mic, it's in the description. All right, guys. If you need the link to the open mic, if you guys want to hop on stream, share your hot takes, your 11:57 predictions, theories, anything you want to ask me, your opinions, whatever it is. If you're down to join the open mic, chop it up with me, chop it up with the stream chat. The link is in the description chat. How we doing today? How we doing? We got Johan, God bless. For fun, God bless you. C-Flow, God bless you. The one and only Wong Wokey, God bless, bro. We got Aiden, God bless, bro. PB and J, God bless, bro. Always praying for you, man. He has to go to bed. He'll listen to the VOD. Appreciate that, bro. SL, God bless. Glad to see everybody here. RBBP, the one and only legend, the biggest Blackbeard fan I know of, hands down. Zedeko, God bless you. How is your family doing? Hope everyone is fine. Amen. Thanks, bro. God bless you. Appreciate that. Thank you for checking in. Doing great, bro. Doing great, man. Just getting our money up, not our funny up. Still going through RCIA with my wife so we could get baptized and confirmed. We had a really good dinner. Not gonna lie, we had like this really, really good steamboat dinner. We just watched a movie. If you guys have seen Weapons, I just watched that right now. I thought it was a good movie, bro. I don't care. I thought it was a good movie. Like, it's supposed to be like a psychological thriller, horror type of thing. And there was like a lot of moments that like you just laugh. But I feel like 90% of them was intentional, you know? I thought it was a good movie, bro. I'm not going to lie. Like, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. And there's a lot of movies, you know, that I've been watching, you know, the past year that I just, not going to lie, I just haven't been feeling a lot of the movies that have been coming out. But I enjoyed this one. I really did. This one, Weapons. It's a great movie. I would recommend watching it. Now, I'm not trying to tell you guys that it's the best movie ever and it's so mind-blowing, but it's a good movie. I liked it. They probably could have added, you know, more information behind certain characters, you know, maybe a little bit of a backstory, maybe explaining the motivations of certain characters, but it was a good movie. I don't think it was bad. And you guys know, like, most horror movies are trash, bro. Like, if you guys think about it, like, the movies you don't really remember, you know, as being one of the best movies, like, those are the horror movies, right? Like, the most legendary movies ever, they're not horror movies. You know, you think of like Interstellar, that's not a horror movie. You know, with horror movies, you see kind of like the same tropes and stuff like that all the time. So I thought this was a pretty good one. But yeah, Chad, how we doing? We got SL in the we have SL in the backstage. Chad, if anyone wants to join the open mic, today is your chance, okay? We even push this stream back. Usually, we would go live 2 hours earlier than what we are now, right? We would go live 2 hours earlier, but we pushed the stream back. I know for a lot of the US viewers, a lot of the US subs, it's very early in the morning, usually when I go live, but now it should be a bit later. All right. Vincent, God bless. I want to see the Weapons movie along with the movies together and the new Naked Guns movie. What would you rate Weapons? What would I rate Weapons? I mean, there was like a lot of funny moments, and you could say like it's supposed to be horror and like a psychological thriller, but I didn't mind the funny moments, bro. Like it made the movie enjoyable. It wasn't, in my opinion, it was not scary. It was not scary at all. Um, I mean, the plot was pretty interesting. Like, if you guys look at the synopsis, you know, like what the plot is supposed to be of the movie, it's pretty interesting. I guess I could explain it because it's like the synopsis is not really spoiling anything, but essentially, all but one of the kids of a class went missing. Like, they all disappeared, and that's pretty much like the plot. It's pretty good. I also watched Fantastic Four a few weeks ago. That was pretty good. I mean, I'm not really into the superhero movies, you know, so it was all right. Maybe like you superhero fans, you guys would be really into maybe Fantastic Four and stuff like that. I'm not into superheroes, so I wasn't, you know, too mind blown or anything. Jacob, God bless, bro. Finburst, how we doing, man? God bless, bro. All right, chat. Let's go ahead, start this stream off, kick the stream off with a prayer, and then we'll get into the open mic. All right, chat. We will get into the open mic. Let's get our prayer going. Thank the Lord for what he has done and what he continues to do. And we'll jump into the open mic. All right. As I said, for those of you that want to join the open mic, anyone can join. Any one of you people watching the stream, anyone can join. The link is in the description. StreamYard, okay? If you don't have an account, then make an account on StreamYard with your Google account. Use Gmail or something. Also, guys, we are going to be structured, okay? A lot of the times when we've done these open mic streams, it's been very unstructured. We'll have like 4 or 5 people in at a time, and that's just too much chaos. I feel like people can't, you know, say their piece, you know, because there's just too many people talking. So we're going to try to do one at a time. Also, we're going to have segments of this stream for super chats. Okay. Because I know like some of you guys, maybe you can't join the open mic, or maybe you don't want to join the open mic, whatever it is. If you guys donate through Stream Elements, there will be segments of this stream, particularly for Stream Elements and super chats and stuff like that. Okay. So let's get a prayer going in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. I believe in one Lord, Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, born of the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, consubstantial with the Father. Through him all things are made. For us men in our salvation, he came down from heaven, and by the Holy Spirit was incarnate of the Virgin Mary and became man. For our sake, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. He suffered death and was buried, and he rose again on the 3rd day in accordance with the scriptures. He ascended into heaven. He is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come down again in glory to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life, who proceeds from the Father and the Son, who with the Father and the Son is adored and is glorified, who has spoken through the prophets. I believe in one holy Catholic and apostolic church. I confess one baptism for the forgiveness of sins, and I look forward to the resurrection of the dead and the world to come. Amen. My Lord and my God, I thank you with all my heart. Thank you for every breath, every morning, every mercy. Thank you for your cross, for you shedding your blood to save me. Thank you for loving me even when I didn't love you, for waiting patiently while I wandered, and for calling me back with tenderness and truth. Thank you for the grace that keeps me standing. Thank you for your word that gives me life. Lord Jesus, you did not come to condemn, but to save. You touched the sick and they were healed. You spoke and the storms stopped. You commanded demons and they fled. You saw the unseen, loved the rejected, forgave the sinful. You met the Samaritan woman at the well. You knew her past, yet you didn't shame her. Instead, you gave her living water. She left her jar. She left her shame, her sins, her old self, and ran to bring others to you. Lord, help me leave my jar too. Let me stop clinging to my past, my habits, my guilt. Make me new like you made her new. You healed the blind. Lord, open my eyes to see truth and beauty. You cleansed the leper. Cleanse me from the stains of sin that cling to my heart. You raised the dead, raise my soul when it grows cold and distant. You forgave the woman caught in adultery. Forgive me, Lord, and teach me to sin no more. You multiplied the bread, multiply love, patience, and kindness in me. You walked on water. Help me trust you when everything around me feels unstable. You calmed the storm. Speak peace into my anxiety, my fears, my temptations. You cast out demons. Drive away every dark thought, every hidden chain in my life. Lord, I ask you, change me. Give me a heart full of love, a spirit of deep humility, a soul that longs for holiness. Make me gentle when I want to fight, silent when I want to gossip, faithful when I want to give up. I pray on behalf of all my family members, my associates, my friends, my enemies, my haters, my people I don't even know, my fellow countrymen, my fellow humans here on earth. I pray on everyone's behalf. I pray for people like Smokey, Lord Christ Jesus. Please protect Smokey and empower him and his household. Please protect my wife and strengthen her and strengthen my marriage and my family. I pray on behalf of L. I pray on behalf of PB&J, RBBP. Lord, only you know their hearts. Only you know what it is that they truly desire and what they truly need. But above all, I finally say, Christ Jesus, let your will be done, not my own will. Let your plans be done, not my plan. I place everything into your hands and I glorify you and I adore you above all things. Glory be to the Father and to the Son and to the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's get this started, chat. Let's get this started. So okay, this is what I think we're going to do. We are going to give the open mic participants 5 minutes apiece and see how that goes. Okay. If there's not that many people trying to do the open mic, then maybe we can raise the time. But let's just start with 5 minutes. We'll give each person 5 minutes apiece. Once we go through all of those people, and if there's not that many people, then we'll bring the original ones back in, just so they can add some more. But first on the list is Mysticus, Big SL, Darkstar. God bless, bro. Why are you not allowed to give theories? Stretch. God bless you, bro. All right, let's bring SL in here. Yo.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yo, what's going on? I hear you, bro.
Oh yeah, I was messing with the audio. It seems like it doesn't support the Bluetooth earpiece. Like I tried to switch it, so I don't know. If you hear cars and stuff, I'm just walking around chilling, so I'm just. But yeah.
Why wouldn't it accept the Bluetooth?
I don't know. I checked the audio settings. So.
Yo, but, SL has that surfer look going on, bro. You about to hit the beach or what? Where's the surfboard, my guy?
No, I don't got a surfboard. I just got a longboard. That's it.
Nah, you know what it is? You got that white Jesus going on, bro. Like when they try to put like a white Jesus in a comedy movie or something.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Nah, I'm just joking, bro.
I'm not that one, bro. I'm pretty I mean, you can't tell as much as the sun, but I got like native blood, so I'm pretty tan right now. But
oh, okay. They said bro's prime white beard.
Oh my god. No, I don't even know. I was trying to think on what topics we could talk on. What did you have on your mind? Anything?
All right, let's start simple. So, what do we envision for 1157? I don't even remember
11.
where we left off. Rocks, Pirates, double
was-
page. That's where we left off.
Yeah, it was like because it was after Roger and Garp and all that. So yeah, the rocks. Was that when Kaido got kicked? Was that last chapter, or am I misremembering?
Yeah.
That was like one of the last things, probably.
Bro, every time we take a break, I like forget what we just read.
Yeah. So I think I think we're probably gonna get the finally get the God Valley stuff. Like I think we're gonna head into that probably. What do you think? Do you think so? Like eventually, like we're getting to it.
I mean, I could see it going either way because although this is more of a Loki flashback, I could see Oda going a little bit off the trail because Oda did that through the Odin flashback, you know, with some Roger Pirate stuff. But I could also see Oda, you know, blue balling even longer when it comes to the rest of God Valley, you know, the conclusion of the fight, how the fight went down. Because, you know, Oda wouldn't really, I highly doubt Oda would make a statement, but you could argue that Loki wouldn't have been at God Valley, so it wouldn't be necessary to show how the fight went. But on the other hand, I could see why Oda might show it too. I don't know. I feel like I'm 50-50.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like the whole thing with Odin, where it was like the Odin flashback became the Roger flashback. So then now the Loki flashback's becoming the Rocks flashback, I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, Loki wasn't at plot either when Harold and Loki were there. Loki killed the Admiral, so it was kind of like a Harold Loki flashback in a way.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Harold stuff. For sure. I mean, it's been big Harold stocks up, as they say, or whatever. So, like, I definitely didn't expect Harold to have like advanced coding and everything, all that stuff. So that was kind of, I mean, it's not really surprising, but it was just kind of like you didn't know. I guess you didn't know if he was going to be like that strong or not. But
Bro, Harold's a beast.
Yeah,
man.
like you knew he was going to be strong, but we just didn't know exactly how strong he was going to be. So it was like, dang, he got gassed up.
He's going to be, but now he came out, ancient giant blood. Bro has advanced conquerors.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like, so now you have to think about like, where do you have him standing in terms of everybody else? Like, do you think Prime Harold beats Kaido or not? Like, I think they're really close, but it's hard to say. Right now, I think I still have Kaido a tiny bit stronger, but it's tough. I think they're pretty close.
Is it weird that like I would say Harold is being showcased as someone that's extremely strong, but I can't scale him?
Yeah, no, I mean I get that, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I feel like he's probably pretty close to Kaido, but it is hard to say for sure because I'm sure like obviously Kaido could clash with Rocks like in his prime and everything, like when he was at his best, which is when he fought Luffy. But yeah, so it's hard to say. But I guess you have to see it as like Loki defeated Harold. So Loki, you could argue, well, it was probably a mess. Like we don't know exactly how it happened.
He defeated Harold?
Yeah, like he killed him. That's why he told Haj Rudin, and he's like, it wasn't my choice. Like, you think I wanted to kill him? Because it was like obviously some type of crazy stuff going on, probably with some emu shenanigans. So he had no choice to kill him to defend his life. And whatever was going on, the guards were stabbing him. So that was like some crazy stuff. But
yeah, I mean, with the guards stabbing with the guards stabbing Harold, I almost feel like Loki didn't do anything to Harold.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly how it went down, but it seems like Ja Rule got stabbed, of course, and then, I mean, it's implied that Loki was the ultimate person that defeated Harald because I mean, no one else really could have done it. And he literally said like how Juden like blamed him and everything. So you could argue that Loki is stronger than Harold. So wherever you have Harold, you could potentially have Loki ahead of that. You know, and then people use that to be like, you know, Shanks beat Loki, so then Shanks over Loki, Harold, and whoever else is below them or whatever. So I
mean,
you know?
that might be true.
Yeah, I think it is, to be honest, but yeah.
I would probably scale Shanks over Loki.
Yeah, for
Maybe.
sure. I mean, like people say like, oh, you know, it was like a group thing or something, but that's kind of like disingenuous, I feel like. I mean, it could have been, but like, come on. Let's be real. Shanks is most likely 1v1 beating Loki, so if we're being honest.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, would you put Loki in that Yonko tier?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Especially because I would put Harald in the Yonko tier for sure. So, and if Loki's relative to Harald or higher than him, then yeah, for sure, Yonko tier. But for me, it's kind of like, I don't know, like I see the OG three admirals as like basically on the lower end of the Yonko tier, and then I see the new two admirals like lower than that. So I feel like the new two aren't as strong as the OG three. That's my view, and some people. But
So, what would you say to the people that argue the Marines are stronger than they've ever been?
Yeah, so we had like that statement where it was like the Marines are stronger as an organization. That's so hard to believe because they lost Kuzan and then they got Green Bull and Fujitora, of course, but then who else? But Garp and Sengoku are both like mostly retired now, like semi-retired or mostly retired. So they're not as active anymore. So that's like two of their biggest hitters, and then they lost Kuzan, so that's pretty huge. And then if you look at it as like the new two might be a little bit weaker than the OG three, then it's kind of like it's hard to believe that the Marines are stronger than they've ever been. That's just really hard to believe. But
So you think it's like propaganda?
unless it's like, yeah, probably. I mean, unless it's like they just have so many more numbers and like commander kind of level people coming in that it kind of balances it out or something. I don't know. You know, it's like it's hard to see it. But what do you think about? Because I know we talked about Akainu too. We talked about if he was gonna revolt, because it's hard to see. It's hard to see him doing it, but at the same time, it's not. Because I mean, somebody I talked to a lot put it pretty well. Like he's not really. He doesn't really have like the authority he thought he would have in the fleet admiral position. Because at the end of the day, he's still just a pawn of the world government, and he can't really do anything. Like. And if he tried to like do anything against them, then basically you'd have to revolt because there's no other option. Because they see him as just whatever, you know. He doesn't really have any real like say in things. If that makes sense.
Akainu's an interesting one. I mean, how I always envisioned, you know, Final War of One Piece is like the biggest factions facing off against each other. But the thing is like I feel like when it comes to the Celestial Dragons and the Marines, it's kind of like part and parcel, like they're together type of thing. So like if we ever had a scenario where like the Marines led by Akainu defected, it's almost like what's gonna happen, because we would ultimately believe the One Piece world government would crumble and fall. But the Marines play such an important role within that organization, within the One Piece world government. So it almost makes it seem like it would be pirates, the Grand Fleet, the Revs, and the Marines against Celestial Dragons. But is there even enough Celestial Dragons to justify that? Because I mean, we have the Holy Knights and the Gorosei, and I guess Cypher Pole, but it almost seems like super outweighed. So, like, how I always looked at the One Piece Final War is like the Celestial Dragons and the Marines versus like the Alliance, you know. And I guess we could have a scenario where Akainu defects from the Marines without necessarily having the Marines follow him. But I don't know. I feel like Oda might write Akainu in a very unique way that only applies to him, where it's like Kuzan has issues with the world government being his history with Robin, so he chose to leave, or at least that's what it's being presented as. But Akainu would be treated differently. Maybe even like a Garp situation. Maybe he's like an evil Garp in a sense, where it's like he does not like the Celestial Dragons. He would spit on the Celestial Dragons, but he 100% believes in the Marines, because when we talk about the reasons for Akainu leaving or possibly leaving, when we describe that, it's almost like we're describing Garp, right? Garp straight up disrespects the world government. He does not like Celestial Dragons. So maybe Akainu could be along the same kind of lines. Not like Kuzan, where he just straight up leaves. Maybe even Fujitora straight up leaves. I feel like the tension between like the world government and the Marines is probably higher with Fujitora than it is with Akainu, because Fujitora is like outright disobeying.
Yeah. Well, people are saying that maybe Fujitora will be like the fleet admiral in the future or something, like down the line. I mean, obviously, we could all see him defecting because of his like morals and everything, because he's like one of the better Marines out of everybody. I've always, to be honest with you, I've always seen the Marines as frauds, because not in the sense of power, but in the sense of justice. I've always seen them as fraudulent, because it's like they're like, we have an oath, we will protect the citizens, but then as soon as the Celestials come into town, it's like the oath just goes thrown out the window. Like, yep, we're done with that. So it just kind of seems like fraudulent to me. But I mean, I get it. But there's obviously like the better ones like Kobe, Fujitora, Garp, and others. And I would say that if I had to like put them on a tier list of justice, I would probably say Kobe will be slightly ahead of Garp, because he's like the new generation to learn from Garp's mistakes, because Garp was foolish because he had a flawed belief system. And that's why Dragon has the greatest morals in the entire verse, because he saw through everything and decided to stand up against everything in spite of how difficult a task it was. You don't see any other person in the verse do that. Nobody. Not the Yonkos, even though they have power, because it's so hard and the world government's the strongest organization. And what did Dragon say? I found no justice in the Marines. So it's like, you know what I mean? But then Kobe, it seemed, the way I see Kobe is like, if a celestial dragon attacked a citizen, he won't attack the celestial, but he'll jump in the way of the shot and just tank that. He'll just take it for him. That's how I see Kobe. So for me, I see him as like a little bit ahead of the other people, and he's like sword. And like, let's be real, Oda's doing this whole like, oh, he's hunting Luffy thing, but we know in the end he's gonna side with Luffy during everything that goes down. We know we know Kobe. Like, come on, let's be real. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah. What do you think?
The interesting thing about Kobe is is that I think it was 432 when Garp was being brought into the story. Garp was being portrayed with the epithet as hero of the Marines, right? But if we fast forward all the way to 1059, notice how Kobe gets an epithet, and maybe it's not hero of the Marines, but it's just straight up hero. Which some people might think it's like lower, but you could argue it's even higher, because like Garp is hero in the Marines, but Kobe is just hero. Like that's his epithet, hero. Garp has like Garp of the Fist.
Yeah,
This man,
he's hero. Yeah, he's still early. He's still early in his career, so he's got to work his way up. But yeah, it's still.
I point out though, because that's a little sapling, right? It's a little seed of what Kobe's gonna eventually be. So when you talk about Fujitora being a fleet admiral possibly before Kobe or something like that, I almost think of that like oh wait, I'm not gonna say it because people are still reading Naruto, but there was a certain character that became Hokage before another one. I don't want to say the names, but I think of it like that. Like maybe Fujitora or somebody could, just because the age and power and stuff, they get to fleet admiral before Kobe. Then a little bit of time after that, then Kobe.
Well, yeah, like his goal was admiral, so like people can argue maybe he'll be fleet admiral eventually, but in terms of the story, like he would only really need to reach admiral rank during the story at best, because that was his goal. So you could argue that like in the epilogue or something, maybe he eventually gets further. and the same thing for his power too, not just rank, but I think power as well. It's kind of like I don't think there's enough time for him to like reach some crazy like people are like he's gonna be fighting Luffy and all this. Like, bro, come on,
Dude, the
bro.
gap between
It's
them
like,
is
come
mad.
on, dude. Luffy's beating him in his sleep with one hit, like, bro.
No,
You
you
know?
raise a good point, though. Kobe's dream is Admiral.
Yeah. And honestly, like, if we're being fair, how is anybody gonna match Luffy when he's in his peak? Because he's got one of the best devil fruits in the verse, Awakened. Then he's got like some of the best hockey and some of the best physicality and everything all combined. Bro, how are you gonna match that with just hockey? You gotta have something more than that, you know? You gotta have more.
They're gonna have to wait until Luffy's like 90 in Sea Stone
I
cups or
know.
something.
Like, bro, it's not possible.
All right. I want to bring in Luffy Go in here, but is there any last things you want to add?
Nope. I was just gonna say at the end, are you gonna do like the group thing again or no? Because I was
Yeah, maybe we could do that. If there's not enough people trying to open mic, then maybe we could do that.
all right, sounds good. Peace.
All right, bro. Catch you soon. All right. So what do you guys think about that conversation? How we feeling about Kobe? No Fujitoro, it's exactly the opposite. He's gonna leave the Navy and Ryoku Gyu. You mean Green Bull? don't start this, Johan. Green Bull, okay? And Ryoku will be like a Kainu and Kizaru. I don't know, bro. Green Bull's worse, man. Green Bull is literally a bootlicker. You know, Kizaru's is kind of like nonchalant type of thing. Akainu, at least he's been shown to have a little bit of tension between himself and the CDs, Enda Dressrosa. But Green Bull is a bootlicker to the max. He's just like Lucci. I feel like I said this before a while ago, like a long time ago. I almost feel like Green Bull is like the Admiral version of Lucci. Because look at how, if you guys go back to the Reverie, right? Look at how Lucci was talking about the CDs, bro. Go read how he was acting, and it's just like how Green Bull acts with the Celestial Dragons. All right, Luffy, go.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. I was going to talk about Law and Blackbeard's cruise. So I think Law will join the Cross Guild and become the captain by the end of the story. Okay. So he'll have Mihawk under him, Crocodile, everyone, all the warlords. Okay. So I think it will happen like a final battle. Luffy says to Buggy, "If I defeat you, you have to step down." And Luffy will beat Buggy, and then Buggy will join Shanks, making me Law captain.
That's wild. That's wild.
And we can get like you know how Whitebeard fights Roger. We can get Mihawk versus Zoro like multiple times in the epilogue. I'm just saying.
I mean, I've always loved Law joining Cross Guild. I have a video on that. I should probably revamp that video. I put it out so long ago, but I never ever considered Law leading Cross Guild. So how did you come up with this?
Well, I just don't think when Shanks said he wanted Buggy to like join his crew or wanted to be with him, I just thought it just makes sense for end of story Buggy to join Shanks. That didn't like Shanks say that was his like dream to be a pirate with Buggy.
Yeah, I need to go. I know what you're talking about, but I need to go revisit.
Yeah, and for Blackbeard, I think Shiryu and all those like commander level people will be defeated, and he will get when he goes to Wano, Kaido and Big Mom. Yeah.
Wow, very unique take to say the least.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
Blackbeard. Blackbeard. I think is gonna be like the pain to Luffy, like the fight before the final battle.
So what's the final battle?
The final battle is Luffy's allies versus Emu. It's gonna be Kaido. It's gonna be the same as Kaido.
You hear that, SL? You hear that? I'll go on, keep cooking.
All right. You know how Kaido got like tag teamed, right? I think it makes sense if it's gonna be Law or like Kid to help Luffy defeat Emo because he seems way too strong, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I almost feel like I know what you're talking about. Kind of like a Law, Luffy, Doffy thing.
Yeah.
I, I always thought maybe you could add some insight. I always felt like, the Law versus Doffy into Luffy versus Doffy was Dragon versus Emu into Luffy versus.
I think Dragon is gonna get Garling, to be honest. I think
I
that
agree.
just makes sense, yeah. I think
I
Garling is the strongest Gorosei too, right? I'm thinking he is, right?
I mean that's hard to say, but I have like this. Maybe I should like flesh it out, but like I have like this matchup of Dragon versus Garling. I agree, but the thing is like I don't, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, but I don't think Dragon versus Emu into Luffy versus Emu is exclusive from Dragon versus Garling. It could be a kind of thing where Dragon's just not able to take down Emu and he pivots into a Garling fight. I don't think it's like mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you think is gonna fight the rest of the Gorosei though? I think it's gonna be like the Straw Hats, right? Like only Zoro and Sanji. The rest get like the Holy Knights or something.
Yeah, it's so funny when we talk about like the Gorosei matchups because most people will say Straw Hats. And I do understand that, and I do like it to a degree. But as you said, when we say that, what we really mean is the monster trio.
Yeah.
Because the bottom tier Straw Hats don't even have hockey. But to answer your question, I like it. Zoro versus Venus, I like that. Sanji versus Mars, I think. I don't know. I find like the Gorosei matchups be a little tricky, bro. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I also think Loki will get one of the Gorosei matchups. I'm gonna be honest.
Loki. Which one? The worm?
No, I think he'll take Workery actually. Like it will
Work?
transition from Luffy fighting Workery, and then Luffy will go to Emu, and Loki can take Workery like his Luffy's fight.
So why would you say that though?
Why would I say that?
Yeah.
I think Luffy will probably want to fight Akainu 2 with Sabo. I think he'll get like a reunion and stuff like that. I don't think he'll get like 3-4 like Yonko level fights or in the
Yeah, that might be overkill.
yeah.
So when you say Luffy and Sabo against Akainu, are you saying that in the sense of Akainu being defeated or like the first half or something like that?
No, I think it's more like I guess a reunion, more like it's not gonna be like power based, right? I think it will just make sense like getting over like Ace and stuff, more spiritual, I guess, for them, and then yeah, I don't think Akainu's gonna be that powerful, just in my opinion, but
I think Sabo might be ready to have a real deal fight with an admiral.
no, I think Sabo's right now is like weaker than Law, and Law, I think, yes,
Really?
yeah.
Huh. Sabo under Law. Who agrees with that? I want to know. Who do we have, chat? Comment in the chat. Drop a message down below. Who do you guys have? Law versus Sabo.
Look, Law had Blackbeard like on his ass bleeding.
I mean, that's black. Actually, if I say that's Blackbeard, that just gasses up Law more. That upscales Law.
You either have
Huh.
Blackbeard as the Admiral level or like Law as a at least
Blackbeard.
stronger.
Blackbeard's certainly Yonko level.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that just helps Law out if he's at least Yonko level.
So let me ask you, who's more proficient in hockey, Law or Sabo?
I think it's Sabo. He's been trained, I think he got trained without his devil fruit first, right? So
Yeah.
I think he'd be better at like hockey and all that stuff, and yeah.
So why do you put Law above Sabo?
Better feats. And I think
Right.
Law will be like the Whitebeard to Luffy. So I just have him higher.
Now this Law and Sabo thing has me interested. I mean, Blackbeard was gasping, you know, he was sweating bullets, but I don't know. That's interesting. But going back to your original main take, your main theory, Law joins Cross Guild. Law becomes the leader. Buggy ends up joining Shanks. Do I have that right?
Yeah, but I think this is gonna happen after like the final battle.
After the final, like
Yeah,
after
after.
Emus done?
Yeah, after. 'Cause I just
Okay, so
makes because it's gonna be like people's dreams getting fulfilled, right? So I think it's gonna be like Zoro's dream gets fulfilled after the final battle, and then it's gonna be Luffy's dream, whatever that is.
so like it wouldn't cause a battle type of thing. It's more just about the dreams.
No, it's gonna be a matchup between like the. I think Buggy's gonna get to like the flower room or whatever the throne is, and after that, it's gonna be a face off between like the Cross Guild and Luffy. I think those are gonna be like the two like faces of the next generation, right? Whichever way they go. I think Luffy's obviously gonna win out, but
Interesting. Interesting.
wait, what do you think before or after the final battle?
I mean, I would have thought like, well, I mean, it depends, right? If there's no like, if it's about the dreams, I could see it happening after Emu's defeated. But like, if a battle's included, then that's kind of like Emu versus Luffy is not the final battle, you know?
Well, I think it's
So
gonna be more like a fun fight, I guess.
fun kind of thing.
Yeah,
And it would be, well, who would the fight be again?
I think it's gonna be Luffy and Buggy, and then Law's also gonna fight with Luffy, and it's gonna be Zoro, Mihawk, and whoever Sanji gets, Crocodile or like if
So
anyone else.
cross Straw Hats versus Cross Guild.
Yeah, yeah.
And Shanks is not in this fight. He's not in the picture
No. But Buggy joins Shanks though
after the fight.
after the defeat.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because I agree with this, but I want to see how you break it down. Would you be able to explain to the chat, like the first step, right? Why does Law join Cross Guild? Like, why is that foreshadowed? What does that matter for the story? How does that make sense?
Isn't it like all like the former like warlords are joining like Cross Guild? And it's also said like Boa might join, but I'm not sure about that. She'll, I think, side with Luffy, I guess. But I think like Law had like a very bad defeat. I think Beppo might steer him towards Cross Guild. I'm gonna be honest. And
Yeah,
like
because
Law,
the Cross Guild base is in the New World.
yeah.
Okay, now why Law? Like, why would he?
I think Law is the most like how he works is like he's kind of uh he doesn't like he's not like Luffy and Kid. He's more like thinks about it. I think he will like think about it. Like you know how Cross Guild or not, the Rocks Pirates had like Big Mom. She decided to like join Rocks, even though she's like you can say a Yonko or like she has the will to be her own person. She still joined Rocks. And Whitebeard too. Maybe it was a Davy back fight. Whitebeard joined, but even still, I think
Now,
yeah.
go ahead.
Law. I think he'll also look up to Mihawk too, because he knows he's strong, and Mihawk might help out Law as strength wise.
Now, I would add like the thing about Law is he believes in factions and not really like so much on like building friendships and nakama. So when we see Law building a faction or an alliance with Luffy and his crew, it was for the sake of achieving something. And that's the same exact type of energy we see through Cross Guild. So Law would fit with that kind of faction perfectly. And then you just have the fact that Law is such a popular and prominent character in the storyline, where it doesn't really make sense for Oda to, throw and scrap Law away, being that he wants to learn about the checkered fate and the will of D and stuff like that. So even though, he was defeated by Blackbeard and his ship was destroyed and stuff like that, why would we believe that Law would just, give up on his dream? Now, another option is like Law going to Luffy again. Do we really see that happening again? Probably not, especially when we look at how the map was drawn post Wano with Winter Island, Egghead, and Elbaf. I think it would actually be pretty strange for Law to go from Winter Island all the way to Elbaf. I think it almost makes more sense for him to stumble upon the base of Cross Guild. I always forget what the island's called. But with that being said, people would try to argue Luffy go that well, Doflamingo is a former warlord. Shouldn't he be joining Cross Guild? And Doflamingo actually he hates Law. There's no way they would work together. Well, the thing is, what I would say, Luffy go, is Law has a way better shot of joining than Dofi, because last time I checked, Dofi is in level 6 impel down, right? At least Law is in the new world. He has the freedom of travel. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what makes more sense for the character arcs? Doflamingo to break out and all of a sudden join Cross Guild. Like the last time I checked, Doflamingo wanted to live in Marijua and be a celestial dragon again. On the other hand, Law wants to go gather the One Piece and go to Laugh Tale to learn about the checkered fate. So wouldn't you agree that Law joining Cross Guild makes way more sense than Doflamingo?
Yeah, I think Law and like Mihawk and Crocodile have like the same kind of mentality where they're like thinkers, I guess. They're more like realistic of their choices. I think, yeah, Kid might still have his own crew, but I see Law as someone joining someone else.
Or at least like, because like in a sense, like I agree, like joining Cross Guild, but at the same time, it's not that classic, join the Straw Hats. It's more of like a faction kind of thing, like an alliance. Yep. Like we see in Cross Guild, they do not like each other.
Yeah, I think that's only between like Mihawk and like Buggy kind of, and like
Mihawk, Buggy, Crocodile Buggy.
Yeah,
and I think if you remember post Wano, like they were saying it explicitly, like we're only trying to achieve our goal. We're only trying to make these games. We're not trying to, be all buddy. It's like the Rocks Pirates.
Yeah. And I also think, but I think Mihawk and Crocodile respect each other. I think like they're kind of the wings, I guess, if you can call that. Even though I think Buggy is below them, though. To me, Law.
The wings of the Clown King.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's all.
All right. If you're hoping to join again, you probably can, because there's not that many people backstage. So if you have any more questions or theories or takes, feel free to just stick around in the backstage, and I'll bring you back up.
All right. I'll let someone else cook up.
All right. Appreciate that. Take care, bro. All right, chat. Sabo or Law? Who do we have? I absolutely love Law as a character. You guys know I got the Corazon, right? I think Law is probably one of the greatest manga characters ever. But Sabo is really just him, bro. I can't lie, man. As a Law stan, I can't even really explain why. I can't even like articulate and explain why, but like my gut just tells me Sabo. Not that Law's weak. Obviously, Law is not weak. I don't know. Now he has me thinking. I don't know, actually. My gut would initially tell me Sabo, but I can understand why someone would say Law, But a super chat from Wung Woki with the 20 bomb. Thank you so much, brother. God bless, man. Hey, I'm all for a Luffy and Buggy rematch. Hey, Luffy and Buggy rematch. I'm here for it too, bro. Hold on 1 second. Luffy and Buggy rematch. Why not? Oda, add some, comedy to the story, add some fun energy, not another Luffy versus Kaido. I mean, Luffy versus Emu is already going to be super tense, right? Let's get some fun in the mix, let's get some kicked in the balls type of things going on. I mean, what else can I say? It's just, is anyone against it? Like, is anyone here against another Luffy versus Buggy thing? I want to know, chat. Hold on, I need to switch out my clothes. I'm wearing pants right now. I need to put on some shorts. But God bless, Smokey. Thank you, bro. Always appreciate you. And I don't know, man. I've been thinking for some time, like, what is Oda gonna do with Cross Skilled, man? Like, did Oda make Cross Skilled, as a thing in One Piece? Like, did Oda make them a faction for nothing? Like, it has to be for something, right? Because, like, if you say, like, oh, well, Oda created Cross Skilled, that way there's more competitors for the One Piece. It just feels like a cop out. It's kind of like saying for nothing because we know Luffy's gonna get the One Piece, or at least I think that, right? I don't know, man. Cross skill's a tricky one. I definitely agree with Luffy Go. I 100% believe Law will join Cross skill. That makes way more sense than Doflamingo. It doesn't even fit Doflamingo's motives. He region wise is way too far from Cross skilled members. Law can't have his dream or character abandoned. It just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, Cross skilled. I'm interested to see more about that, Smokey. God bless. Then we got Jacob Harrison with a 2. Thank you, brother. God bless. I think Akainu will betray the world government, but his view is too black and white, so he'll sacrifice himself based on him arguing with the world government. The world government, in my opinion, is strong enough to be a challenge. If they lose the admirals, Blackbeard's definitely killing Shanks before the end. Blackbeard killing Shanks before the end. I still kind of hold to this belief, Jacob, where it's like, I can see Blackbeard killing Shanks, but I see that happening after Shanks reunites with Luffy. I think like that is like a prerequisite. I can't really see a scenario where Shanks doesn't get to reunite with Luffy and keep his promise with Luffy, about Luffy becoming a great pirate, because Shanks is dead by the time they get to meet. That seems a little strange. Then you also got to think, right? Shueisha, they want those manga sales. They want those volume sales. Toei, they want those episode views, those episode reviews. Can you guys imagine the internet's reaction to the chapter or the episode of Luffy and Shanks reuniting? That would probably be one of the highest selling volumes, period. Luffy and Shanks finally reuniting. Plus, it would just be a really good payoff for the readers. I mean, we dove into this thing in chapter 1. Chapter 1 of One Piece. I'm giving you the straw hat. When you're a great pirate, I want you to return it to me. Their reunion. So, I'm down for Blackbeard killing Shanks, as awful as that sounds, but I think Luffy should reunite with Shanks before that. Now, in terms of Akainu betraying the world government, I don't know, bro. We have too many people turning their back on the world government. Kuzan left. You have an entire faction called Sword. Fujitora ain't looking so good. We can't have too many people defect. And I still kind of hold to this position. Maybe we can change my mind, Jacob. I'm holding to the position that Akainu is similar to Garp, the Marine guy, bro. He hates the CDs. He doesn't like the world government, but he's a Marine guy. God bless, Jacob. Thank you. All right, let's bring Smokey in.
Yo, what is up, my friend?
Welcome back, bro. Glad to see you, man.
How are you, my brother?
Doing great, bro. Just hanging in there, doing what I need, bro. How you been, man? Oh wait, did my sound cut out again, bro? Why does this always happen? All right, hello? Why can't I hear anything? Can I hear you now? Hold on, let me pull you out of the stage and pull you back. Does this work? Man. Okay, hello? Yo, I cannot hear you. Yo, chat, can you hear him? I cannot hear him. I'm pretty sure it's me. This happens like Blackbeard joined the call. Why is this happening?
You hear me?
Okay, now I hear you.
I said, hey, what's up, brother? How are you? And then I said,
I'm
hey,
doing-
Don, if you can hear me, how are you? Hope all is good. I know you're listening. And then I said, what do you want to talk about?
All right, what are we talking about? All right, the hottest topic in the One Piece community right now, the elephant in the room, a certain person with a certain parent from a certain place.
Oh, you want to go down this route? Okay.
The hottest
Well,
topic in the One Piece space.
first off, I want you to set the groundwork. If I'm gonna go with this, I want you to set the groundwork. Explain to me, at least every time you can remember, that Oda has broke his rules. And I'll even give you a start. Blackbeard with two
Oh,
fruits. Because I don't want to hear try to tell him I can't be Luffy's mom after this call.
so I actually want to lay groundwork before the rule breaks.
Okay.
I think there's groundwork to be laid.
Okay. Set the
Let me
stage.
pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick. I think it's chapter 515 or 516. Where is it? It might be 516. Because I want to show people this, bro. When it comes to Luffy's mom, chat, the hottest topic in the One Piece community. If you guys haven't seen anyone talk about this lately, you live under a rock. Everyone's talking about Luffy's mom, Tritoma from Amazon Lily.
By the way, while you're looking something up, RBP, I got a fun bet for you. All right. I don't know what the turns are gonna be, but if I lose, I will braid the bottom of my beard like Blackbeard. But if I win, you have to wear a straw hat Luffy hat and shirt for a week. We can set the perimeters. It can be something we can disagree on. It can be especially pertaining to Luffy and Blackbeard. But you set the terms.
He doesn't believe it.
Who doesn't believe it?
I'm asking you, does he not believe Luffy's mom?
No, I'm just trying to set a bet for the end of the story. I got to make something fun, right? Blackbeard propagandist loves Blackbeard. I like Blackbeard too, but I'm going to take the side of Luffy just for the fun. And I said we could place a bet on it. I'm trying to make things interesting, brother.
Hey, RBBP, you need to accept. But let me show you guys this panel, bro, because it seems like a lot of people like to use counter arguments to shoot down One Piece theories, but they're not actually going back and reading what it is. They're not actually thinking about the counter argument that they try to make. And you know what it is? I think this is a human thing. I think people get joy in being able to debunk a One Piece theory. They feel like, oh yeah, I got you, bro. You thought you had that theory. You thought you cooked, bro. All right,
Yeah, I
let's check
think
this.
pride. I think pride is a huge problem when it comes to that.
It's the pride. Let's go to chapter
And
5.
I'll admit it. I suffer from it too. I don't like to be wrong. You know.
Hey, we all suffer from pride.
Yep.
Let's go to chapter 515 of the official translations, guys. Don't come at me with One Piece dub. Don't come at me with the anime. Don't come at me with a fan translation. Let's go see what the official English official translations, the source material says, okay? Let's
This
get this out
chapter's
the
in
way.
the 500s, right? Five something.
515.
515. Okay.
Yeah. So let's read what this says, chat. This is Amazon Lily, a nation of only women. Okay, so the nation, the island, right? Amazon Lily. This is Amazon Lily, an island, right? This nation, right? It's an island of a nation of only women. Okay, so they're talking about the island itself, right? Because obviously Luffy's a man and he went on to Amazon Lily, right, chat? It's not like Luffy just poofed and died, right? And we saw other men, vice admirals and stuff, go on Amazon Lily. Now and then, one of the women ventures to the outer oceans and returns with a baby in her belly. Okay, for some mysterious reason, only female children are born here. Chat, why is it all these people want to come out and say, "Oh, bro, you're only the women, only girls, Amazon Lily"? Wait a second, but
Guys,
read, chat.
realize they can give birth off Amazon Lily, and it can easily be a male. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Oh,
Critical
it says
thinking.
only female children are born here. Wait. So what if the children are born outside of the island then? Look
I
at
think they
don't
can
tell
be
me.
both. I think there
Don't
is a mysterious force on Amazon Lily that alternates the chromosomes. Because you know, X, Y, and it only ends up being females on Amazon Lily because there's an environmental factor. We can look
or
at we can look at examples of real life animals for this, of environmental factors forcing the way animals evolve in a certain location. The Galapagos Islands is one of the best, or Madagascar, if you want to look at that. Go ahead,
Madagascar,
Dave. I just want
the
to
Galapagos
interject that.
Islands.
Yeah, they're
So
both known as hotspots for evolution because there's uniquely individual like species there.
So look, here's the thing, chat. Here's the thing. As Smokey said, it says only female children are born here. And I don't want to hear someone try to tell me I'm coping. Like, oh, bro, you know what Oda means. They only give birth to girls. First of all, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say Amazon Lily only gives birth to girls. It doesn't say that. Second of all, Oda is the number one scallywag, bro. Oda will word things and do things in a certain way to make you think that way, but it's really not like that.
I noticed that he loves making us think in absolutes, and then when he wants something to happen in the plot, he wants us to think out of the box. You got to find a balance between the absolute and out of the boxes.
You hear that? Chat, take notes. You hear that? He wants us, Smokey. I couldn't have said it better myself. Oda wants you to read things and think things in absolutes. That's how you get a plot twist.
Exactly.
That's how you do it, chat. You make someone think something, but it's really not that way, right? And you know what's different from a retcon, chat? What's the difference between a retcon and a plot twist? Is the retcon has to rewrite facts. It has to rewrite the narrative to make you look at the narrative completely different. But a plot twist, people don't deem plot twists as retcons because the plot twist fits the narrative. Yes, it changes things. Yes, it's additions to the narrative, but it changes and it fits and it adapts perfectly to the plot, to the narrative. So my point, chat, is we really look. So we will talk about the rules that Oda breaks in One Piece, but I want to lay this groundwork first because if we're being logically consistent here, chat, we don't need to sit here and tell people like, oh, well, Oda breaks rules. You know, Blackbeard has 2 devil fruits. The Yonko are being portrayed as powerful figures with all these lands and fleets, which if you really have to do that with someone, then so be it, right? But read it for yourself, chat, the official translations. For some mysterious reason, only women children are born, only female children are born here. So that could lead into Oda having women give birth outside of the island that are boys. But let me actually posit another thing to you. Since men and the idea of men, right, is like so taboo to Amazon Lily and their culture, how do we not know that they don't keep in secrecy when boys are born? How do we not know that? How do we not know that they don't kill the boys or ship the boys off and they're not allowed to live on the island? And they have to keep it under
Let me throw this crazy thing. Let me throw this out there. Who's to say that Luffy couldn't have been born and Dragon and Tritoma couldn't have gotten together and Dragon never set foot on Amazon Lily because they hate men? Who's to say that she didn't have Luffy in the Goa Kingdom? Who's to say he didn't bring her there and then he found her way back? There's just
You hear that?
so many ways I can make this fit. Now the problem is that the information is incomplete. But
See,
I think we have a good case here. I really do.
because like the thing is, right, when we talk about Luffy's mom being Tritoma, first of all, chat, this theory did not start a week or two ago, chat. This theory has been going on for 2 years and there's reasons for it. Go do your research. I have multiple videos on this. Second of all, here's the thing, right? When we're talking about, chat, get your notebooks out, get your pencils out, chat. Get your notepads. You're about to do some studying. Class is in session, okay? Listen, when we're talking philosophically, when we're talking with logical consistency, and we wish to think and speak as precise as possible and avoid logical fallacies, let me explain something to you, chat. When you have a problem, right? And you come up with a conclusion that fits so perfectly and has all these proofs, all the foreshadowings, it ties in nicely, it adds lore to the story, whatever the case is, if it fits perfectly in so many different regards, and there's one issue, maybe you should go reevaluate the issue. So what am I trying to say here, chat? What I'm trying to say is that Luffy's mom being Tritoma, this is not a 2-week-old theory, chat. I put this theory out years ago. Go watch the videos. Now, here's the thing, right? Just because people will tell you that women from Amazon Lily only give birth to girls, we just went over why that's not true, why people are stretching the truth, and they're not telling you what it actually says. I just showed you the official translations. And second of all, go back to what I just said about logical consistency. You have all these things that make perfect sense when it comes to that theory.
You know what else is crazy? Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
But
you're good.
I just wanted to simply say, like, Tritoma is a Kuja pirate, guys. She wasn't based solely on Amazon since she was like 11. I think she's like 11, maybe 13 in that flashback. And that means that Dragon had to be around the same age, if not slightly older.
Look at
The
all the
timeline works.
Look at all the supporting evidence, though. Look at all the supporting evidence. Luffy, Boa, Empress is in love with Monkey D. Luffy. Why would it really be strange if Empress Toritoma was in love with Monkey D. Dragon? They say love is a hurricane.
Well, Oda is establishing that these Empress, Gloriosa, Shaki, Tritoma, Boa, they're all attracted to the top of the top. They're not just catching love sickness for anyone. They're catching it for significant and
They like that
important players in this story. They don't want no beta males. Like, these are Amazon warriors. These are alpha women. They're only gonna want the strongest.
High value man. That's what they like, bro. They like a high value man. You heard it from Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, we're doing the 2025 take on this. They're high value men that have a lot to contribute.
And another thing, right? People, right? I keep seeing this over and over and over. People are now posting things talking about how Buggy said Rayleigh was Luffy's uncle. Chat, go watch my video from 2 years ago. That was literally the reason why I went deeper and deeper and deeper into the conclusion and the thought. If Rayleigh is Luffy's uncle, how could that work? Well,
Do you mind
first
if
of
I
all,
interject? Do you mind if I interject in a second?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I got something to support what you're saying. Buggy saying that Rayleigh is Luffy's uncle sounds exactly to me like Buggy saying, "I will be a warlord, then I will be a Yonko, then I will be Pirate King." Buggy has Usopp qualities where what he says comes true.
Like Usopp, yeah, perfect.
Go ahead, back to you.
No, but when we talk about that, what he just said was beautiful, chat. Let's think about this, right? Instead of brushing it off, because I've noticed a lot of people love saying this in One Piece where they're like, what if this one silly little detail is actually foreshadowing? Let's feed into that for what Buggy's saying. If Rayleigh was Luffy's uncle, how could that work? It's actually very simple. When you read the Japanese Ross of Shabandi, we can see that the way Shaki and Rayleigh speak and refer to each other is that they're married. And second of all, in the Vivi cards, it also proves that Shaki and Rayleigh are married. Okay, so we can establish that there. Now, if Shaki was the sister of Tritoma, that's not far-fetched at all. That's a pretty simple thing. I don't think anyone would be mind blown. Like, oh my gosh, Shaki's her sister. No, that's a pretty simple thing. Well, the final step is if Tritoma is Luffy's mom, then that makes Rayleigh his uncle, because that would mean Luffy, the nephew, has a mom, right? And his mom's sister is Tritoma, married to Rayleigh. So if Tritoma is Luffy's mom and Tritoma is the sister of Shaki, then Rayleigh is Luffy's uncle. But now everyone's going around saying this, chat. Everyone's going around saying this, chat.
It's crazy how things can change within a couple years.
Bro, all it took was one panel of Tritoma smiling just like Luffy. Flip the switch, bro.
And okay, so now that you brought that up, I want to talk about the swirl in Tritoma's hair and people overlooking that detail. Guys, this is one of those silly little details that Oda loves to put in. Like, look, some could say that swirl could be an homage to the Nika fruit, the swirls on the fruit. But even if we were to dismiss that, like, we could just say she smiles like Luffy. These are things that Oda does. He puts in small, integral details, and they just line up. I feel like. I if
Yeah.
you ask me, bottom line, Threeville, I think there's overwhelming evidence that it's Tritoma. Now, it could not be, but she is the best case we have so far. Like, she cannot be dismissed, is what I would say at the end of the day.
Yeah, you would need a strong counter argument for that. Now, I want to pull up Aiden's comment real quick because he said Oda told us that Luffy's mom is very strict, but Tritoma doesn't seem very strict at all. So yes, that's true. Oda said about Luffy's mom, I think she's alive. I'm still thinking hard about this, but if she does appear in the story, she'll be a very tough-looking woman and strict. So here's the thing, right? We saw Tritoma, as Smokey said, at the age of 11. And look at the Empresses of Amazon Lily. Look at Boa. They are very strict. They are tough women. They are strong women. Boa kicks cats, bro. She kicks cats across the ship. These are tough, mean women. They hate
and then
men.
she says, "You all forgive me because I'm beautiful." Boa needed that humbling that Luffy gave her at Amazon Lily. I'll be honest, I didn't like Boa's character at first, but then she grew on me.
Dawn of Ascension said, please can y'all talk about the 5 and 6 in the only 2 images of her?
I'm trying to think of the image.
Oh, I see it. I wonder,
image? I'm trying to remember the image.
I'll pull up the image right now. Hold on. I'm going to pull it on the screen right now. Tritoma One Piece. I'm going to put it on the screen. You guys are going to see it right here in a second. Now, this is definitely Oda. This is Oda right here.
If there is
are
a
you
50...
able to look at my screen?
No, I can't see it. But what I'm going to say is if she's got the 56, now it's coming up. Okay.
It's right here.
The swirl looking like a 6.
Look at her ear. 5. You see the 5 in the ear?
Okay, yeah, I see
5,
it now. Yeah,
6.
5, 6. There you go.
The 5 is right there in the ear.
I said the swirl in her hair was an homage to the Nika fruit, but look, now we have more evidence with 56 being Gummo and Oda loving math piece. Here's another homage. The evidence just keeps mounting, people. I don't
It
think we
does.
can dismiss this.
Look, a second panel of this, a second panel. Let me put it on the screen. When she was younger, the 5 in the ear again, and the 6 in the hair again.
Yeah, see? She's had that all her life then.
All her life. And look what Johan said. It's from chapter 1156.
Yeah. There we go.
So now, my point though, Smokey, if you have all these clues, go back, chat, go back, watch the 2 videos I put out years ago, literally before we ever knew her name and what she looked like years ago. Go watch those videos, go put it in 2 times speed, go listen to the foreshadowing, go listen to the evidences, go look at the IRL clues, all these things. Consider all the things you see on the plate and ask yourself, when I look at chapter 515 and it says that women are only born on the island, right? Can we really just dismiss the entire take, dismiss the entire theory for something ambiguous as that? Can we, Smokey?
I don't think we can. We cannot. We can't dismiss it. And as I said when we began this conversation, I said after we have this conversation, I don't want anybody dismissing Tritoma like it's nothing after this. You better have a good argument, like you said. The timeline matches up. There are, what do you call a character's appearance that details, like physical details? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, or visual.
Visual details. There are visual details on Tritoma with her ears and her hair that point to Luffy's number 56. We know 56 is intrinsically connected to Luffy. People have speculated 5.6 billion will be his ending bounty. Oda has already connected 56 to Luffy so many different ways, guys. It's basic math piece. And
And
we
the
know
whole
Oda loves his numbers.
the whole beetle thing. Let's pull up Stretch real quick. He said, gonna be real, the swirl in the hair is not it, and the smile like Luffy. Many people have gentle smiles in the story. So here's the thing, right? There's a difference between supporting evidence and foundational evidence. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say you're a parent, right? Let's say you have a kid and there's cookies missing in the cookie jar, right? And he has crumbs all over his face, right? Now let's say you have video evidence of your kid eating cookies. Would you not mention the cookie crumbs being on his face because other kids in other homes have cookie crumbs in their face and because you have video evidence of it? No, you would mention that. You would say, I saw you grab cookies from the cookie jar and I see the crumbs all over your face. My point is that when you hear someone make supporting evidence for a theory, you should not treat it as foundational evidence. It's the same way in criminal investigations and in the court. So we're not arguing, oh, she has a 6 on her hair, so therefore she is Luffy's mother. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we can see that as evidence, supporting evidence that proves the conclusion given everything else. It only makes sense she would have that. Just as the cookies are missing from the cookie jar, you see the kid take the cookies in the video evidence, it only makes sense that he has crumbs all over his face. So like this goes back to thinking philosophically and avoiding logical conclusions, thinking with logical precision, stuff like that, chat. And I see that all the time for One Piece theories. Like supporting evidence. So here's the thing, right? When someone's showing a One Piece theory or explaining a One Piece theory, they should not use supporting evidence as the foundational evidence. They should be clear. They should make it very they should just make it clear for the viewer. So it only makes sense that these little details would fit if the conclusion was true. Does that make sense, chat? Yeah, the whole beetle thing. Yeah.
I mean, for me, when I saw the swirl, as I said, the first thing I thought about was the homage to the swirls on the Nika fruit, and then after that, seeing the 6, and then you bring the ears in with the 5. I just say there's a lot of strong circumstantial evidence. Like I can't say 100% for sure. I could say I'm about at 80%, 85%. If Oda keeps dropping these subtle hits, though, I'm just gonna get louder and louder. Show me a better candidate. That's what I'm gonna say.
There is no better candidate. It would just have to be a character that hasn't been revealed yet, in my opinion.
Exactly. And that's why I said a little while ago, it's either a new character or it's got to be her, man. But outside
So,
of Tritoma, never mind. You go ahead. What were you gonna say?
so another thing, right? Aiden says Oda's trolling the fandom with these hints. I swear he does that all the time. Reads theories on Twitter when he is bored and laughs his butt off. So here's the thing. This is what I would say, Aiden. First off, Oda recently had a comment about One Piece YouTubers and theorists, how he doesn't watch them, and it became this whole big deal. But the point is that Oda tries not to read One Piece theories because he doesn't want them to affect how he writes. Oda wants to be able to have an idea and foreshadow something and put it out regardless of what other people think. That's why the author of Game of Thrones, or maybe it's Lord of the Rings, I think is Game of Thrones, he actually used to read theories online on online forums when he was writing the books, right? And he would read theories in the books.
Are you talking?
Stop.
Are you talking?
What was that?
I think you're talking about the Game of Thrones writer.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. I think that's what it is. He would plan to put something in the story because he foreshadowed it, and he would read fans predict what he's gonna put in the story, and he would actually change his mind and not put it into the story. And he realized that ruins his story because then you have all these details that go to waste because you were putting all these things into the story, building up to this revelation just to scrap it. So now you gave up on all the effort you put in to foreshadow something, and then now you have all these extra details that don't really matter in the story. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing, I think like people do this all the time, like in the One Piece community, where they say like a theory is like too obvious, a theory has like too many clues, Oda's just playing into it way too much, and then like they want to be able to they want to hunt with the wolves and hide with the flock. They want to hunt with the wolves and hide with the sheep. They want to be able to say like when something it comes true in One Piece, they want to be able to say that it was so obvious all along. But then when something doesn't happen in One Piece, they want to say how it was obviously not true the whole time. And it comes from like that bias.
Of is Yamato. Everybody thinking Yamato's going to join, and then she doesn't. That's one of the best examples I can think of right off my head right now.
Yeah,
but
it's a logical problem. It's a brain logical problem in our head where when we come to learn something, we then look back on it and we think like, oh, it was so obvious the whole time. Or when something doesn't happen, like, oh, it obviously made no sense the whole time. But now like I feel like people are like a step ahead of that, where like they're almost like predicting it. Like they want to be able, I can't say it better than hunting with the wolves and hiding with the sheep.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta let you take the spotlight, bro. I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, you're on that. Now you just gotta you're on the right track. Now you just gotta come up with a couple examples of of Oda breaking the rules. And I gave you one. Whitebeard having 2 fruits, Buggy being a Yonko, and I'm sure you can think of even better ones.
What are some rules in One Piece, chat? What are some rules? I want to know you guys' answers because I want to make a thread about this on Twitter, chat. This is my question to you. You as well, SL. What is a rule or a pattern or a theme or some kind of standard Oda has placed into the story and then completely flipped it on its head? For an example, we could only have 1 devil fruit. Oh, wait, Blackbeard ends up having 2 devil fruits. Okay, Yonko is supposed to be so strong, big, powerful with all these ships and all these islands. Oh, wait, Buggy becomes a Yonko. So what are other standards, other patterns, other rules that Oda has put into One Piece and then completely flip it on its head? Can you guys give me examples? What's good, Vincent?
Yo, what was the question again?
What are some rules, patterns, and standards Oda has placed into the plot and then completely flip it on its head? Black characters can only have one devil fruit until Blackbeard has two. Yonko can
I'm
be
sure
have to be so big and powerful with all these ships and all these islands until Buggy becomes an admiral or Yonko.
I feel like this. If I had to
I'm
pick
sure
one
I would know
rule,
some, but I can't think of any off the top of my head though.
if I
I'd
could
have to
pick
think
one
about it.
rule, I'd probably pick the stipulations on the
Hmm.
devil fruits because you know that Kaido had the Azure Dragon devil fruit, right? And
Yes.
everyone knows the mythology of the Azure Dragon is supposed to be the protector of the world, I think. So if Kaido could bash through that limit, he would have actually won against Luffy because it's supposed to be an unlimited power. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe just the stipulations on some devil fruits, like there has
Fish.
to be a certain requirement. Yes,
What about the idea of a fish devil fruit? Was that ever supposed to exist in One Piece? A
that is true.
fish?
That is
Yeah, with
true.
Kaido's fruit.
I think it's the only one.
I do like how Oda used the old Japanese legend of the old cart going up the waterfall and becoming a dragon. Basically, think of Magikarp to Gyarados.
Yes.
Hmm.
And then it went to
You
Mega
could
Gyarados.
you could say like how Kaido was hyping up Hockey, but then he relied on Devil Fruit, and then Luffy's awakening was what helped him beat Kaido in the end. I mean, the Hockey, it was both, but you know what I mean. Like,
By the way, shout
Yeah.
out King J. King J is big on the Tritoma Ave. I just
yeah,
noticed he was in the chat.
I agree with the Tritoma stuff too, because people were trying to argue about that with me. So I was like, they were saying that stuff too, like, oh, they can't have male children and all that stuff. So I said the same
That's
thing. What if they just were on another island? Like, we don't know. Like, or
Fun
other
yeah.
fact,
possibilities.
fun
I mean,
fact,
for all we
Boa
know,
in that
Amazon Mama
panel
is Emu.
from that panel that he showed us that what was it, 515 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere around that chapter, maybe the next one after that, Gloriosa explicitly states Boa became the leader of the Kuja Pirates 11 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
it's
thing
11
is
years
like
ago.
we wouldn't necessarily. So,
You know,
uh, so on
never mind.
My
Discord, there's a certain person in my Discord. He is the greatest person ever. If you guys ever have like a theory or a take or something, you got to go to this guy. He loves all the takes, bro. I think his name is like Supreme 2 or like what is it? Like Elite 9 or I don't know, something like that, right? I was talking to him, right? Good buddy of mine, right? Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh, he was saying that they never said Tritoma became, or no, they never said Tritoma died 13 years ago. But let me ask you something, Chad. Let me ask you something. We know that Boa became Empress. It said in pre-time skip 11 years ago, so it's been 13 because we're in post-time skip.
Yes.
So it said that Boa became Empress 13 years ago because the previous Empress, Tritoma, died of love sickness. So, chat, do you think it is a stretch to say that Tritoma died 13 years ago?
I think she may have actually died before that because I think Gloriosa probably was the queen at the time she was away because maybe she was captured by the world government and sold to the celestial dragons, and that's why Dragon rebelled in the first place.
I'm with Vincent on just the. I'm with Vincent on the fact that I think it's a range. I think 13 years ago could be the basis, but I think it could go as high as like 15 or 16. But like Vincent was saying, even the Boa we know for sure took over 11 years ago. We don't, she didn't necessarily have to take over immediately. Gloriosa could have been handling it in the filler years.
Because when was she
Yeah, I mean,
released from Marie Joie by Fisher Tiger?
Boa? I forget.
Wasn't it at the
Wasn't
time
it?
she became an empress?
When
Yeah, I think it
Boa
was around the time she escaped.
She went back with
when
Gloriosa. I don't know when she became an empress. I forget, to be honest.
when I think of the flashback of her running away from the Holy Land when Fisher Tiger attacked, she had to be a teenager. She
Yeah,
had to
and
be between like
You
12 and
know,
she's like
19.
28, 30 now.
yeah,
Old
well, she was. I
around
think
there.
she was 28 pre-time skip, and now she's 30. I think.
Yeah,
think
she's
she,
Yeah.
30.
But here's the thing, right? Going back to the timeline, right? I think it actually would require more explaining and more leaps to say that Tritoma died, Gloriosa took over, and then Boa took over. I think it's actually much more straightforward if we say that
yeah,
Tritoma died and then Boa took over. Because
yeah, that's
notice how
fair.
when they were talking about Boa, right? They said Boa, even though she was so very young, she was still strong enough to become empress. So
Ah,
it kind of
yes.
makes it
And
like,
when
okay,
it
And
comes
wow,
to
you're
the
and
I mean,
and
they
here's
could
something.
have ran without a ruler for a while. I mean, Elbaf's currently doing that now. They have an elder
but
running the show.
Also,
but
also, you
wasn't
have to remember
Boa
Gloriosa
was
was excommunicated, so she probably was. She might have been disqualified or less likely to take that role again.
but
And
Tritoma pardoned her.
Boa, listen, Boa was saved before Tritoma died.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree.
So that's
I,
why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. Boa, we know this is canonical, right? Boa was saved before Tritoma died. So Boa was saved. She goes to the island. Tritoma dies. They look at Boa, and that's why they said that she was so young, but she's strong enough. So they made her empress. So
yeah,
what my
I
point
just
is that
recalled a detail that actually explains why Threeville might be right. The succession in Amazon Lily is not biological. Strength is what determines succession in Amazon Lily. The strongest Kuja warrior is automatically the Kuja captain and the Kuja empress.
I
I mean,
And
think,
at
like
I
he
that
guess,
point,
said, Boa was
the three
young,
at that
but
point the
she was
three
super
sisters had
strong.
devil fruit, so they were already the strongest.
yeah, and I guess you could say
Yeah,
strength
because
and
they
beauty
were
because
experimented on
beauty
by the
is
celestial
strength.
dragons. They gave them the
Plus, there was
fruits.
that legend about their brandings on the back
it's the
about how
strength.
they would be turned to stone if they
Strength
looked
and
at them.
beauty.
No, I mean it's right. It's the strength and beauty. I mean,
It's true. I mean, but I will say, I think people are like way too much like in absolutes in terms of like they think they will act like something can't be true, but not recognize that the opposite, there's nothing on the opposite end that disqualifies it from being true. So then they'll be like, oh, well, it's not directly stated or this or that. So, it can't be true. But it's like, where's the opposite side to it, to proving it's not true? You
where
can
is
just
the
say, we
counter
don't
argument?
know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and people do that all the time.
There's the
Yeah,
evidence.
that's why I don't mind like straight up telling people like, look, like I'm not sure about this theory. Not that I'm
Yeah.
necessarily against it, but maybe you just don't have the strongest evidence. Maybe you just don't, you're
Right.
not helping me buy it, right? But I'm
Well,
not gonna sit there and be like,
the other thing about theories is guys, a lot of them are contingent. If we're talking about the correct ones, most of the ones that are correct, you gotta let that it requires Oda building the story information. If you're making a theory early and you don't have the complete evidence, it can still be called a theory, but you can't expect people to not say, I don't know, and then you can't get in your pride about it. Literally, half of
Yeah.
these theories are contingent on Oda giving us more information, and it comes down to that.
Yeah. And it's fine to have more input because then you can refine the theory. Because if you don't have any resistance, then you can't know how good it is if it's not tried and true.
And
So, you know,
Threeville already said it himself earlier this stream. He's got a bunch of old videos he wants to revamp, and a lot of those theories now have more information.
I'm telling you, not even just like my videos and my theories, just like theories in general. I was talking to King J about this the other day. We need to go on Arlong Park. We need to go on Reddit and just sort by oldest. Just look at the theories that are like 10 years old and just look at them again, bro. There's probably so many theories that might be that might have a lot more evidence now that we just forgot because it's been so long.
Like the theory that there could be a Galileo giant in Thriller Bark in the form of ores.
Hmm.
I haven't heard that one, Vince.
He would be the leader. Would he be the leader?
Expand on
I
it.
think I'm the only one that said that so far.
I've never heard that.
That's what I'm saying. I've never heard that. Expand.
I mean, again, it's very recent, so maybe one of those few weeks old theories.
Not to interrupt, but Stretch said Tritoma died of lovesickness but gave birth to Luffy from Dragon. Tritoma died of lovesickness 13 years ago. So she would have died after giving birth. Now, I wouldn't use that as a counter argument because you could say that like maybe she loved her son so much, missed her son so much that she died or something like that. Like I don't think
that's what I was gonna say. Oda really needs to define lovesickness better. I know he gave us an explanation, but there's just so many different ways you can apply it because not everybody's family system is gonna be the same. Stick with me now. Like imagine there's a mom who has a kid and the dad is a deadbeat and he's gone. He's Yasop. and she died because stay with me now. And let's say Usopp's mom died because Usopp was not around. And that was literally her life. You know? That's why I'm saying Oda's just gotta he's gotta make that definition an absolute because I can find a headcanon loophole for love sickness to not actually be a paramour but be a child. You know what I'm saying?
And to add to that, like they never equated lovesickness to birth, right? So if someone tried to say like, oh well, you're telling me that Tritoma gave birth to Luffy and then died later on from lovesickness, why wouldn't she die sooner? It's like they never equated birth to lovesickness. Plus, Boa was sick from lovesickness and she wasn't giving birth. So as you're saying, Smokey, it's too ambiguous. I don't see like a legit counter argument for this, and that's why I prefer it. Like if someone showed me good counter arguments, I'll be more than happy to be like, you know what, I'm not for it anymore. I've shifted my view many times.
Well,
you know what the funniest thing I heard was the funniest thing I heard though was somebody said they were like, well, Tritoma never left the island, so she couldn't have had Luffy. And I'm like, bro, we see her on the ship in the flashback. She obviously left the island at points in her life. Like, what are you talking about? Like, bro.
Yeah, she was
leaving the island.
Who's to say that Dragon did not Tritoma up when she was extremely young? Like when she was like 16.
I mean, how old is Luffy?
He's the same age as her. We're around the same age.
Yeah, they would have been close.
There's also a thing.
Dragon
it's just about her being on the ship with the Fuji pirates and being away from Amazon Lily. That's all I'm saying.
No, because you're seeing Dragon impregnated Tritoma at a young age. Maybe that's the unforgivable crime that's on Dragon's Vivi card that someone just asked about.
I mean, Dragon is 55, so he would be 11.
No, but I was going to say this. So if she had the love sickness, it would kind of it would be understandable if it was Dragon because he had his duty that he sacrificed everything else in life to pursue his resolve of taking down the world government. Basically, the hardest goal that anybody has in One Piece, and that's how much resolve he had. So it would be understandable if something like that happened. But I could already see the Dragon slander. She died because Dragon, blah blah blah. Like, oh my god.
Wait, Mokel. What about Oda's statements are a counter argument? Explain that to me. Is it because he said that she would be tough and strict? Who's to say Tritoma isn't tough and strict? She's an empress, and she's a Kuja pirate. She's tough. She's strict.
Well, but what are the
What are
I
the
agree.
counter
What are the counter arguments? Because someone earlier, right? I'm not trying to bash on them or anything. But they were saying that Tritoma can't be the mom because Oda said Luffy's mom would be strict. Well, first of all, that statement is over a decade old, and second of all, we saw Tritoma when she was 11, dude. Like, really?
Well, I want to say this though about the Sabo and Law thing earlier, because y'all were talking about who's stronger. So I'm gonna back my boy Sabo up and go ahead and explain why Sabo is
Oh,
stronger.
I
So
want to touch on that too. So you
And
go ahead.
if
I
I
have my
yeah,
could,
take on that
if I
too.
could speak on this,
Yeah,
but
let Vincent go.
if I
Let
could
Let
Vincent
speak
me.
go.
on
okay,
this,
yeah, you go first. You go first.
to support the Sabo Black Law thing, let's think about this. Who do you think hits harder? Emu with that tail lash at like maybe 5% power, or Blackbeard with his earthquake strength at full power?
Well, I think that Emu might have like might have some kind of like devil fruit counter thing where it's like their attack might do double damage if you have a devil fruit. Like Sabo has a devil fruit, so him having like that other spirit in him. What if Emu's attack damages both you and the devil fruit you like spirit at the same time, and it
Like
inflicts
he's
like
infused
a
with
worse
Sea Prism
damage?
Stone?
Because it seems like Sabo when he was on the ship after he ran away, he was like holding the wound, and he's like, this is feels different. Like he wasn't healing properly. Like it was like taking longer for him to recover than usual from a wound.
Maybe
So
that's a hint of the supreme hockey that Gabon showed off against Summers.
Yo, I missed the
I'm not sure
question.
what it was. It could have just
Well,
been Emu's hat like abilities.
yo, Three will missed what you guys were saying. Catch him up.
It was
He
Emu
just.
slash or what?
Oh, I start from the beginning then. Okay. It was, who do you think took the harder hit? Sabo from Emu with that tail lash, or Law from Blackbeard with the earthquake punch?
I would think Sabo.
I would too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although, like, I feel like although I would choose Sabo, I feel like the context was very different. You know, Sabo was kind of like running away, trying to grab Cobra and stuff like that, versus Law and Blackbeard on like a battlefield, right?
Yeah.
I would say it like this. Blackbeard's attack had more destructive capacity, but Emu's attack had more like attack potency or attack power in terms of like individual target damage.
I
If that
would
makes
see.
sense.
I would.
You know what I'm
So I
saying?
would see Blackbeard's attack, like theoretically, if it collided with Wall's skull, his earthquake fist, right? We would see reverberations going through all through Wall's spine, right. So the
And it
way
just
I
looked
would
like a
look
Mortal
at
Kombat finish.
Emu's attack is that it would be like a more precise scalpel. Like Blackbeard's attack had the power in the AoE, but Emu's attack had the hockey that is needed in the supreme hockey from an in-villain boss, like a scalpel knife directly aimed at Sabo's vital organs in that
I would
moment.
say, I would say so. It's not a. First of all, I think it's not an anti-feat. Sabo is in the room with one of the top people in the world, top three, possibly top one, and then on top of that, 5 Gorosei. That's not an anti-feat. If Fuji Tora
Oh,
or
what's
Greenville or
up,
It's a
somebody,
guys?
good sentence.
Oh,
oh sorry, my
my
bad.
bad.
Yo!
I don't know if I can do that.
Yo, yo. Now, if Fuji Tora or
Can I
Greenville
smoke on
got hit by
stream?
Emu's attack, they're going down just as much as
I've
Sabo
been
did.
doing it.
They get hit
I
by
just
who?
pulled my head away, RBP. Just pull your head
Okay.
away when you're taking the drag.
Yeah, maybe just to play it safe. I'm sorry, this is totally off topic, but Aiden said, why do people overestimate Sabo so much? He ain't on a level with an admiral. He is above
Okay, so
Yamato
Look,
or
here, just
Zoro. But, like,
I'll
so
my
can I
explain
thing
it.
go?
is,
No, I can easily
if
explain it.
Sabo,
No, hold
I
on,
if
don't
because
put
Sabo
him on the
I only
level
got
of Diablo. I put him on the level of an
I only
admiral.
got like I only got 9% on my battery, so let me just explain real quick. So
yeah, go ahead.
All right, go
for
ahead.
one thing, so in Dressrosa, I would argue that Sabo without the devil fruit was already like around Katakuri tier in overall strength. And then on top of that, he got the devil fruit. That's when I would put him to like a low admiral type level. And so he was clashing with Fujitora. They were both going at it. Neither of them were necessarily going all out. Obviously, Fujitora wasn't. But they were both going at it. Sabo never took any damage. He was enjoying it. So it's like, and then on top of that, so, and I'm not, back then I would say he wasn't quite to Fujitora's level. Like I would have him a little bit under Fujitora. But you have to keep in mind, Sabo is continually growing off screen because it's stated he trains every day. What do we see them do when they're kids? They're constantly growing. He was trained by dragons. Um, so he's constantly growing, and narratively, he's Luffy's brother. This guy is extremely important, and he's the second in command of the Revolutionaries, who have one of the biggest roles in the final war and in the end of the story. Narratively, he's extremely important. You can never count him out. You're ridiculous if you do. That's just dumb. So it's like he's constantly growing off screen. So if you think he's gonna stagnate and you think he's gonna come back and still be Dressrosa's strength, you're tripping real hard because that's crazy. So he's gonna have his time to shine. He's Luffy's brother. Most likely he's gonna fight Akainu and win. Probably awaken during the fight or right before the fight. So he's gonna grow during the fight to be able to beat him. I could see him being a foil to Akainu to the point where Akainu bragged in Marineford and he's like, well, you know, magma's hotter than the Maramara, so I'm gonna beat you. So that sets up a perfect narrative foil in the future for Sabo to awaken and then surpass Akainu's ability and defeat him. That's a perfect foil. And inheriting Ace's will. So it would make perfect sense. So we'll see. That's my argumentation. There's no doubt. Like when we see Sabo next time, since he took a L, I have no doubt he's going to be taking a huge W next time we see him on screen because after taking the L like that. So when we see him next time, his feats will put him, I would say, slightly over Fujitora and Green Bull. I guarantee you his feats are going to put him on that level. Guarantee you.
All right, I got two things.
That's
one. I 100% agree. I think someone's volume might be too high. I hear like an echo. I don't know if maybe.
I think it might be Nomad.
That might be me
because he came in last.
Yeah, let me turn it down for you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. And the second thing is like I'm just confused because they were saying in the chat, they said that they have like they don't have Sabo and Admiral level, but they have Sabo above Yamato and Zoro. And I'm looking at Yamato and Zoro, and I'm like, if you have Sabo above them, like he should be pretty close to Admiral level then, right?
Yeah, he should be on par with Fujitora if you have him above him. Because to be honest, Yamato is pushing somebody like Fujitora and Green Bull in an all-out 1v1. She's pushing them to high diff. And if she awakens, she's equaling them or surpassing them. No lie, because people always take the Yamato thing out of context and they downplay her, even though Moma told her to stand down. So she got caught because she literally got caught because she wasn't even trying. We never saw her transform, never saw her use her ice. She didn't even try to escape. Like, how are you gonna say that? And then she used a no-named attack on Green Bull. It had advanced conquest, but she didn't even use her transformation, so it wasn't her full power, nor was it a named attack. So people just downplay her.
Hey, you can say the same for Zoro. Zoro's pushing admirals to high diff. So if you have Sabo over Zoro, then I think like how don't you have Sabo in admiral level?
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, I would argue that Zoro right now, I have him directly under Fujitora. I think narratively it's hard for you. I think you can't put him over Fujitora and Green Bull just yet, narratively. But I have him directly under them like nobody else is closer to them than Zoro right now. That would be my take. And I would say that by the time Elbaf ends, Zoro will surpass Fujitora and Green Bull at least by a slight amount. That would be what I would say.
All right, so here's my view on this. When we're talking about Sabo versus Law, who's stronger? If I had to divide it into categories right now, when it comes to Devil Fruit control and being awakened, we give that edge to Law. When it comes to armament hockey, no, I don't think Law has anything comparable to Sabo's Dragon. dude crushed a vice admiral's helmet just with his fingers. And this is a technique inherited from Dragon. So armament is definitely Sabo. Now, if we're talking observation hockey, I'm gonna say that's a push. And then I'm just gonna go to the story narrative of what SL is saying. I really think Sabo will take on Akainu, and I think if he does, he has to awaken the Marimara no Me, and I think the awakened Marimara no Me is stronger than the Ethiopian no Me. And I'm just gonna make it that simple. I know Wall has the feats right now, but we gotta wait for Sabo to do what he's gotta do.
Yeah, exactly. Like the story isn't over. They're gonna keep growing. We see Kobe trains every day, right? And we see all the growth he's made. So how are we gonna pretend like, oh yeah, but Sabo he trains every day, but that guy he sucks. He's never gonna get stronger.
And I
Like
think
he's already
people
in the
forget
prime.
he was training with Kuma
What?
and he was training with Hawk. I don't know if Dragon actually trained him himself, but we know he was training with Kuma. We've seen that in
I would
flashbacks.
say I would
You
say
know
the
he
clues
knows
are
fishing
still.
and karate.
Yeah, I would
Well, it
say the
wasn't
clues are.
Kuma that taught him Dragon Claw.
Well, no, they both taught him because Sabo uses the Ryosuken style martial arts, and that was trained by that
Kuma?
had to have been trained by Dragon. Because who else could have taught him that? Nobody else uses that in the
Oh, right.
revolutionaries
I
except
agree. I agree.
Sabo.
Dragon taught him,
Yeah.
but
Wait, wait.
Had
Kuma
to be.
was also there.
Arts
He was
happened, right?
also sparring with Kuma.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa,
Hack
buddy.
was
Yeah,
the
no,
one
That's
that
why.
taught him
no,
Fishman.
he got trained by Kuma too. But I'm just saying that Dragon was the one that taught him the Dragon style because that's
Yeah,
only.
and I
I
agree.
mean,
Yeah.
let's
That's
be
what I
real.
said.
His name
I
is
agree.
Dragon. Like, come on, bro.
No, I
But,
said I agree, my dog.
He doesn't use it himself that
Dragon
much,
Claw
though.
is
Okay.
dope.
no, I get what you're saying.
Such
No,
a
I get what
sick move.
All right. I got a super chat from Jay. I want to hear from RBBP and Damon and Sherm because they haven't been able to speak too much yet. But for those three, King J says, do admirals have better COC feats than 8-year-old Yamato?
Canonically,
I'm gonna go
no.
ahead and say no. I'm gonna say no. We don't even know an admiral that has
No.
conquerors. Haki.
She's also half
We know.
Oni, so she's default getting a double stack boost from childhood.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
I mean,
Yamato.
Where
she is the
when
daughter of
Oda drew
Madara
the
too.
panels of the admirals as kids, none of them had hockey. They were roughly, I want to say, about the same age, maybe younger. Because Akainu was how old in that picture? 7, 8.
Young.
Oh, 15? 15?
He's
Oh, are you
15
talking
and he was
about where
that
he
short.
looks beat up and he's got the knife in his hand and he looks all
Yeah,
sad? That
What,
picture?
like
yeah.
preteens?
Oh,
I think he
I
looks
think it was the
somewhere between
SBS.
like 11 years old in that picture.
It's SBS. That's a guess. I mean, definitely a child,
Right.
though.
Yeah, child Yamato, Tanks, all the kids as admirals as kids. No diff.
All right, well, my phone's at 2%, so I'm gonna have to log out.
Oh
All right.
no.
GG's.
Good chopping it up with you,
Oh,
man.
that's
I'm on
SL.
fumes.
Talking.
Yeah.
Dope.
Peace
Good
out,
talking to you,
SL.
man.
yo, I have something. I have some thoughts I wanna share with you guys, and I want. It's got something to do with the whole One Piece as a series.
Floor's all
Um,
yours then.
I'm. Do you guys remember in Wano when Big Mom was defeated and she was falling into the hole and she was thinking about her past, and one of the things that she said was, Roger, you stupid idiot, why did you open your big mouth? We
Oh
don't even
yeah, she
know if
was
the One
stating
Piece is
that he
real.
started the new pirate age. I know what you're talking about, Nova. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
Exactly. All right. So I was thinking, right? What did she what was the secret that she was trying to keep from everyone? Which was probably the One Piece, of course. But I'm thinking, why are why are the not
Devil
the
Fruit
admirals,
users.
but the emperors? Why are the emperors the only ones that's more clued into what the poneglyphs are, what the history is, and what basically the One Piece is. And it always goes back to the Rocks Pirates. What I'm finna say is something I think someone else has said, but I'm adding my own little spin to it. Um, I feel like the Rocks Pirates, when they separated, all of their members became the big wigs of the One Piece world. Every one of their members became who the new pirates had to face in order to become to take their position. There, so I'm saying, someone's phone going off.
My
But what I'm
bad.
saying, now you good. But what I'm saying is, Ross 100% knew what the One Piece is, who Emo was, and what all the secrets of the One Piece world is before even getting all the poneglyphs. I 100% believe that Ross, the reason why they had to erase Ross is because he, like someone said that he was the pirate king before Roger. Before there was ever a pirate king, it was him.
It was his era.
And I believe that not because he circumvented the world, but because he knew secrets of the world that no one else knew. And then
Yes,
if
the
you think about the
taboos that he
secrets that he
researched.
knew, if you think about the secrets that he knew and his crewmates and how they all ended up having their own territory, and most of them had a poneglyph for themselves, a roll poneglyphs in their place. That should tell you that Ross may have told them what mainly what the big prize is. I ain't gonna say he know what the One Piece is. I just think he knows that there was a One Piece, and he was the one uh, making it seem very, very, very high of a reward to receive. So I'm thinking that Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, Wayne G, and what's the other guy that took that was
Gunsby.
Yo,
on that's
Silver
king of,
Axe.
yeah, Silver Rats. I believe they all know something about the One Piece. I 100% believe. I believe Oda is the reason why we couldn't figure out who Rox is because Rox knows too much about the One Piece,
Yeah.
and that's why the story is the way it is. Is really because if you think about it, everything happened 800 years ago, but in reality, everything really happened at God Valley. Once God Valley happened, that's when everyone kind of found out about the One Piece and that it was real. Because after God Valley, that's when Roger went to go find the road with poneglyphs. That lets me know that during his fight with Ross, they had to have that conversation. They had
I
to have
got a
that
question
conversation
for you
about.
though, Matt. I got a question for
Go
you.
ahead.
Okay, so when we
Uh huh.
saw Rocks pull up on not Rocks, sorry, forgive me. When we saw Roger pull up on Rocks at God Valley, he was saying something about like Rocks had taken something from him and he wanted it back. Now, my headcanon had interpreted that as Rocks beat Roger very recently before God Valley. What did he take
Mm-hmm.
from him? What do you think it is?
From Roger.
Hmm. What did he
Yeah,
take? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I
That's
can
a
answer that
great
question.
question.
I want to go back to the poneglyphs though. One thing to consider is when what's his name? Tengu Yamahatetsu, the dude that wears the red mask, father of Odin, when he was taking Robin and Law down underneath to Old Wano and they reached the road poneglyph, it's interesting because Hitetsu actually said that he's been protecting that poneglyph there because it's been passed down for generations. So that lets us know that the road poneglyph was there before Kaido was there.
Yeah, it predates Kaido.
So
Which
that's
means Rocks couldn't have had it.
yeah.
And
So that's
also in
just
that same
the same vibe with Big Mom in Whole Cake Island.
in that same episode that you in that same chapter, um they also said that Jack when Kaido first got here, Jack was the one that found whatever the old city, right? Even
Yeah, he's
though I
part
don't think he
fish.
found the
He
poneglyphs.
can breathe underwater, but he can't swim
Yeah, because
because he's
he could breathe
underwater.
underwater. So that lets me know that why on earth would Jack just be fumbling around under the water just because he's in Wano? Kaido had to known about the there being either a weapon there or a poneglyph there. That's why he went there. Other than the warriors, because I also feel like um Ringo Ringo used to house giants, in my opinion. I feel like Ringo is the island of cold where they were referring to the giants. So I feel like Galileo, some of the Galileo giants, they were in Wano as well.
Yeah, because that
That
would
I
explain
also
the
feel that way
Onigashima skull.
because of Ringo. They say Ringo is the coldest region in Wano. Um, they also said that I can't think of it right now, but it was saying how Ringo also held the pirate from the West Blue years ago that was buried there. So that told me there that okay, not only one of those civilians are buried here in this graveyard in Ringo. So I'm thinking yes, where the Giants froze at originally was not um Punk Hazard. I think that was brought there. I think Kaido found them in Wano. I think Kaido found the Giants in Wano and to um gave them to Vegapunk or whoever. Yeah, Vegapunk. I guess he will be at Punk Hazard at that time. I think that's how the Giants got there. But when it comes back to Kaido being in Wano, I think the reason why Kaido went to Wano is because he knew about the poneglyph or the ancient weapon, which he heard from rocks. And you got to ask yourself, how did rocks get into this information? It's not like he traveled, circumvented the world and got all the poneglyphs, or that we don't know if he could read the poneglyphs. I think Rock's heritage is more important than anything. So that lets me know that Blackbeard's heritage is also more important than almost anything.
Correct.
I don't think they really need. I don't really think. I think they know already. I don't, and they just getting
Yeah,
proof. I don't understand.
I think Blackbeard knows that he's a descendant of Davy Jones.
I got a
Yes,
question for you.
and I love
I
that
got a
idea.
question for
I
you
love
guys.
that idea.
Do you
Go
think
ahead.
that Rock prioritized getting the three ancient weapons, or do you think he prioritized going after the One Piece?
I think
I think he put a plan and set himself to the side. Um, so even if he wouldn't see the fruition of it, he would ensure that in the future. Because I'm assuming that Rox knew he was going to have Marshall or Peach. Uh, uh, um, so I definitely think we still don't know how he died. I'm guessing he just decided to crash out. I have
Also,
no.
RBG,
I
what do
mean,
you think about
Rox
the
is
what?
definitely the
argument?
guy to crash out, but also not against Emu. So he's
Yeah.
also kind of a contradictory, just like Blackbeard.
What do you think
I'm gonna
about that
take
bet
I'm gonna
proposal,
take a different
RBG?
turn. My spin on it is that I don't think Zebek was going after. I know you guys are gonna disagree. It's okay. I don't think Zebek was going after either one of them. I think his view was straight up like, I'm gonna take down the dude running this organization. I want to be
So
the king.
Emu
Yeah,
was his focus.
Yeah, like so where a lot of characters maybe they target the One Piece, or maybe some
Mhm.
characters like Blackbeard they might now target the ancient weapons. Zebek was
Yeah,
like, no. Screw all that. I'm gonna target Emu because if I can kill and knock down Emu, I'm running the show. So
right.
I think Zebek's
Yeah.
angle. And Roger and his legacy, it created the spin of like, no. We got to go to that final island. That's where you learn the full truth. That's where you get the One Piece.
World
It's like
government propaganda. They just don't want people acting like Rox did.
because like
Yes.
it's weird because like I totally understand why someone would believe that Zebek wanted the One Piece or he got the One Piece and stuff like that. But I always try to consider like some characters might just be written differently than others. And I kind of get the vibe now because I feel like there's more information to lean this way. That Zebek just wanted to target Emu. Because notice like Roger had all the wealth, fame, and power in the world. most notorious pirate ever. But that's because he's like, okay, I gotta get the poneglyphs and go to Laugh Tale, and then he did all
To
that.
find the One
Like,
Piece, not challenge the world government and overtopple them.
yeah,
That's
that
not the
wasn't
same goal.
his target. Wasn't
Well,
his target was the
his
world
Yep,
government. And
but Roger didn't go after the One Piece
He was
until
sent through.
after God Valley. He
yeah,
didn't go
so
after the One Piece until he fought Zebek.
Huh.
He didn't.
yes,
It was
It
a
was
fight
1 year
for
prior. I'm
for
sorry.
the
It was
One
1 year
Piece
prior.
at God
1 year
Valley.
prior to God Valley. He was at Lone Star, right? That's where he learned about the poneglyphs. And then what? The year after that is when God Valley happened. He
Yeah,
didn't.
it was.
Roger
well,
didn't go after none of the One Piece until after that. It's more so like the reason why Zebek got erased and Roger got executed is more so because Zebek knew more than Roger, and Roger knew, but he didn't open his mouth. Zebek opened his mouth and was telling all the emperors, all his crewmates about everything. So he had to be erased. Roger wanted to find everything after Zebek told him. In my opinion, I felt like Zebek told him about the poneglyphs and all of this.
His
So
dying words were the truth
So
about the One
frenemies
Piece.
I
and
want to
not
add some
actual rivals.
Guys,
let me add some
let Eddie go.
context and data points
Let
though.
Eddie go.
So with Roger, right? When Roger was on Lodestar, the log post was spinning, right? He didn't know how to get to the island, but he didn't mention poneglyphs at that time. He only came out mentioning poneglyphs after the Zebek fight. So, like Roger's original goal was, I'm gonna circumnavigate the globe. I'm gonna go around the whole
that's
planet
it.
to Lodestar, and he's like, I can't figure out
Roger
how to get to
basically
the
wanted to
last
be
one.
Magellan.
He
He wanted
then
to
went to Zebek,
circumnavigate
and
the
that's
globe.
when he started talking about them.
Say it again.
So Roger, right? His plan was to circumnavigate the globe. He didn't say anything
Yes,
about
I agree with that.
even at Lodestar though. So when he started talking about poneglyphs, that was after Zebek. So I agree. I 100% agree. Zebek and Roger had some kind of deep conversation about the world, maybe who's running it, the poneglyphs. I 100% agree about that. But I think like Roger's angle was like, I need to get to the final island. I need these road poneglyphs. But then Zebek's angle is like, no, I'm gonna take down the king of the world because I want to be the king of the world. I don't know. Like I told
Yeah,
again,
they're
I
going for two different.
would believe Zebek went to Laugh Tale. Like I understand that, but I don't think he's gonna be written that way. Also, you would have to wonder like if Zebek went to Laugh Tale and Vegapunk said that if someone claims a One Piece, they could destroy the world and take over the world. Why didn't Zebek do that then? We could say like
Good
Roger
point.
did because of Roger's persona. Like Roger comes off as like a good guy. You know, he's not out here trying to kill people and destroy islands. So you could
Right.
argue that Roger was probably waiting for Joy Boy. No, he knew the prophecies and that. But someone like Zebek, why didn't he take the road polyglyphs to the ancient weapons? It almost makes me think like he is so like narrow-minded. He's like, yo, I need to get a strong crew, and I'm fighting Emu in the world government. That's how I'm gonna be king of the world. And Roger's like, no, bro, you got to get the poneglyphs. You got to go to Laugh Tale. Blah 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 blah. And then he
And
learned
Rod
about.
said, "Screw that! I'm going to the top. I want Emu."
Like I said,
That's
he
Yeah,
crashed out.
yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree that Zebek is a crash. Is basically a crash out. He knew too much information and he wanted to replace the leader, just like Blackbeard does. He wanted to replace the leader. He ain't trying to take down the infrastructure that's already in place. He want to be on top of that infrastructure. And Roger, like you said, he really only wanted to circumnavigate the world, and he couldn't do that without finding the dang poneglyphs. And finding them poneglyphs is how he found out about the world, about the history. You know what I'm saying? Because even in the Fishman backstory, they kept saying, "Oh no, we don't want your daughter. We just want the treasure. We just want the treasure." Right? So it was the treasure that excited Roger after he found out that there was a treasure to be found. But I think the only reason he found out that there was a treasure to be found is because the bet told him about Joy Boy, or maybe Emu, and how the system is ran by one single person and not by 20 kingdoms. You know?
Yeah, I think so too. But we should acknowledge King J's super chat.
yeah
It's
yeah
been
yeah.
a
We
minute.
gotta chat. This is actually a really interesting one. I want to hear what you guys have to say. You too, Damon, bro. King J says, is it possible that Toki sent rocks in the future from the Void Century
And then he also said, let me see if I can find it real quick, because he said, a man strong enough to kill an admiral, he's talking about rocks, a man strong enough to kill an admiral and come out without any major injuries was never seen or known before that. How? Unless he was sent from the Void Century by Toki.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Because Toki sent nine, she sent nine scabbards 20 years into the future. So, but we don't. I don't know. The only thing I could challenge that with is saying that we don't know how far she could send one individual person into the future. We know
You know
20
she sent
years is a good start, but we don't know if you could send
she
them
sent
from
like what
800.
4 people into the future.
I mean,
She
Toki's
sent
from
nine.
the Void.
She sent nine people. She sent nine people to the future, but she sent them 20 years into the future, and she herself came back from 800 years ago. But it was only her. She didn't come with anyone else, or that we know of, right? So it could be that maybe she could only send herself that far
Which
into the future, but
right,
maybe
which
she could
does
send
sound
other
weird not
people.
taking people with you,
Well,
How
especially
And
from the
it
Void
does.
Century.
one thing about
do we
Toki's
It
hold on?
does, unless you
is
can't.
she can only send people
How
to the
would we
future.
know if she didn't jump? Like, for all we know, she could have came from the Void Century to 44 years ago at Rocks. Then some time passed, and then she brought the scabbards forward. Like, she made that pit stop at 44 years ago at Rocks. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing about that is that I feel like there would be
yeah,
a
she
limit
can.
to how many times she can actually do that, let alone
Yeah, I
with
was
multiple
gonna ask,
people.
like, would there
Exactly.
be like a
It got to be some
cooldown?
rules.
She could have hit him like Kuma and then sent him ahead, or he might have let her do it. Like he might have asked her to do it. I mean, it's possible.
And then I'm sure she can only send them into the future to a place where she been at. So wherever Odin found Toki, wherever island that was, I think she only can send herself into the future to that exact location. So wherever she's from is exactly that island 800 years ago.
She could
So
have just
that's
sent
another thing we got to
someone
take.
to, but she could have just sent
That's
someone from the
interesting. Look
Void
at that.
Century to teach Zebek the ways of that time, like John Connor situation.
I want to add though, because King J also said that would explain
Terminator.
all of Rox's knowledge, right? Because we want to talk about how Zebek knew all these things, right? If he's from the Void
Yes,
Century, that's an easy way to explain it.
that is.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think
But
one of the
then what
weird
would
things is like his power too, because it's
what,
like we don't know how he got that strong, so it's kind of weird. Because it's like his start of his career was going solo to the Holy Land and going all the way to the Flower Garden by himself. Like, bro, that's the craziest start of your career I've ever seen. Like, yo, what is this guy on? Like, bro,
Yeah,
how did he get that
was he was
strong?
he
Like,
was he a king? Was he a king of someplace?
Hey,
Do we know how did he get to the reverie? How did he know a reverie was going on? Was he somebody's security guard like King like the king from Elbath was? Like how did he get the invitation? Like these are the questions that we need answer first before we can really finish off anything about Zebek.
It's probably the
Didn't
What
he
same way
just
kingdom
he
did
ran
he
to the
hail
send him?
flower
from?
chamber. He just
Didn't he just
went
send
in.
him?
like
It's
the,
as
the
Huh?
simple as
thing for
that.
me,
I
right?
think he just
The
sent.
thing for
He
me when we
fucking.
talk about Roxy
Oh, y'all
Zebek,
had the
right?
dinner. Just ran up
With,
in
with,
there.
with Roxy Zebek, right? He was a no name. He
Yes.
wasn't a pirate until he killed an admiral. So my thing is like, we know in the One Piece world, for you to get to a certain power level, you have to go head to head with other powerful people over and over and over. Rayleigh told us this, right? How is this man Zebek coming out of from nowhere killing an admiral? Unless he's like what do you call it? What's the word? Not an outlier, unless he's like a
Him
A
one off,
prodigy.
A
like a
prodigy.
what?
A
A
Okay,
Prodigy.
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 a prodigy sure that'll work. Maybe like Loki, someone that's just like born
If he was a
extraordinary.
prodigy, you would have known. If he was a
Extraordinary.
prodigy,
Special.
he'd have been known by then. Ross would have been a well-known name if he was a prodigy.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that makes
there's
it
a
even worse.
lot of
Then. That makes
prodigies
it
Yeah,
in
even
the
worse.
One
prodigy
Piece
How
world.
doesn't
is he
work,
strong?
but extraordinary, special, outlier, those all can apply.
It's like I have like this weird thing where like if I'm thinking of a certain word and I can't remember it, it has to be that word. It's like a not a test experiment. It's something. It'll come to me. But anyways, my
I
point
get what
was,
you mean. I get what
how
you
is
mean.
he
I'll be like that.
like, out of nowhere just coming through and killing an admiral unscathed? Like how?
Maybe it was the same situation Luffy hit Charlos with. He saw Celestial Dragon doing something he didn't like. And instead of just clocking him, he straight up murked him.
But
Or
that was an
maybe, or
admiral,
maybe
bro.
he pulled
But
a
you don't
white
think
beard.
that Rox would have known about the celestial dragons and their actions and how they treat people? You don't think that he would have known that by his age before he got to the reverie? He would have known
No,
how the celestial dragons act. That it wouldn't surprise him to see a celestial dragon treat someone like shit in front of him. I don't think that would have been the reason why he attacked the admiral. It had to be
no,
something different. I
no,
think
no,
I
The
no.
think he
Admiral
maybe
probably
wanted
could have
the
gotten in the
admiral's devil
way.
fruits.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying I'm surprised that he would fight an admiral. I'm saying like that he had no name at all and he was strong enough to kill an admiral. Because what Rayleigh was telling us, for the top tier fighters, for you to be really strong, you need that practice of going head to head with people. So I'm
Yeah,
not
you
talking
need
about
the hockey
like
glimpse.
the moral
You
thing.
need
I'm
the
talking
hockey
about
glimpse from
physical.
the
Like, how is
Edomite.
he that strong?
So you mean like
He
who
look.
was the bet going against to sharpen him?
Exactly.
He's
Oh,
look. He spawned in out the womb just using Conqueror's coding. Like he just came in. He's just like, yeah, I'm here, guys. It's time.
First try just knocks out everyone in the room.
All right, guys,
Really.
you want to know my theory on who he could have went up against to sharpen those skills?
Yeah.
Here. Call me crazy, but Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, Kaido, all his freaking crew. That's who he went up against.
You got one more. Kong.
Kong, yeah, Kong.
Oh,
Kong,
and
King
then
Kong.
it's almost like if Garp was going after Roger, and so was that one admiral lady. I forgot her name, the older lady now.
The one with
If they
the
both was going out
Suru,
after,
Suru.
yes, they were both going after Roger when he was active in the pirate world. But no one said anything about Rocks. Who was that? Who were the people going after Rocks pirates? I don't like the more and more I'm thinking about it, the more I like what was said that maybe he was sent from the future. I mean from the past. That it's starting to make sense because now we got to start adding things to the story that we can't like. Ross was erased. No one gets to talk about him, but we also don't
Hey,
know
Nomad.
who was trying
I
to
have an
capture
idea
him
of the
either.
line of thinking that you're going down. Nomad, hear me out. What if Rox was sent from the future? What if he was piling around with Joy Boy? That's a
What if he
good
is
bet
Joy
if
Boy?
he's strong. What if he was going up against Joy Boy?
What
Yo,
if
that
Roxy Sebek is
What if
Davy
they were
Jones and
twins
Joy
and
Boy?
that's who he was
I'm
sparring
sorry. This
against?
man said, "What if Rocks is Joy Boy?" Yo, that's
Yeah.
cracked
Yeah,
theory
I
I've
got
heard.
I mean, I've heard
that's a
that
hot
too. I've
take right
heard
there.
Rox is Joy Boy
Bro,
also.
I'll never forget. There were so many
That's a hot
people
take.
that believed Momonosuke was Joy Boy. I
Oh
will
my
never.
god, that was the craziest
That's a
thing.
Momo no for me.
He
I
became
kind
the
of break that
MC.
part of that our
He
history
became
out.
the MC.
He became the MC. Like, bro, Momo,
What
it's him.
where
He's the
blue
new
does the bet
MC.
come from,
Hold up.
you guys?
Which blue did
And then
Sebek
they
come
What part of
from?
said,
the grant?
Momo is Pluton, and I was like,
Oh shit.
Frankie
Oh.
had the blueprints to Momo the whole time, bro. I was like, dang, that's crazy.
He was
Hey,
trying to
one
figure out how to turn
real quick.
Momo from a pink dragon into a red dragon.
That'd be fire. We had a red dragon in Punk Hazard.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's right, we did.
I want to go back to what
Didn't
Nomad said
Vegapunk
earlier.
call Momo Fruit a failure because he was pink?
Yeah, it's the color. That's why Vegapunk was crying about it.
Yeah, he was
So he was
perfectionist.
a
That's why.
perfectionist.
I
Yeah.
want to go back to Nomad though. Nomad said something earlier along the lines of like Roxy Zebek and Blackbeard have like a special family or lineage, and you guys are saying connected to Joy Boy. One thing that I want to add, because Amuni was asking something similar about that. So when you guys look in the official translations, right? Vegapunk was talking about Blackbeard, if you guys remember, right? Because they were originally talking about Kuma and him being a Buccaneer. Then they pivoted into Blackbeard, right? The specific word that that Saturn uses is bloodline. So I kind of get the impression too that when we talk about Blackbeard coming from a special family or bloodline or race or something, it's bloodline. And I don't think it's because of only Zebek. I think it might actually be something a little
that's
deeper than that.
exactly
So
what
when we
I was about to say. Now that you bring it up in that context of bloodline, that could imply Zebek and someone else, and someone else, and someone else. So I love that. I love that because it's analyzing the dialogue of the story. I love it. I love it. That would be awesome.
I was gonna say, like, that also, what blows my mind still is we still don't know who the man marked by flames is. This late in the story, we got this mystery figure, and it's the weirdest thing because it's like out of all the candidates people have, none of them fit the full bill. It's like there might be some things that you could think, like Gabon is not it. I'm sorry, but he's not. He's retired.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Whoever the guy is, yeah, like people say that, but it's like, bro, no.
Because SL, you know what? I've been thinking, bro, like with the man marked by flames, bro. You guys can clip this. With the man marked by flames, I feel like one of the details that we know about him is gonna be impossible to prove about him right now. So, like for an example, if I'll just
he's the pirate with the eye patch.
I'll give
there you go.
That's possible. I thought of that too. It's possible.
That's the answer. He's the only character.
Let's say the man marked by flames is Charlos, right? Even though it's not, right?
Okay.
I hope it's
Charlos.
What I'm saying though is like Charlos right now won't be proven or won't be shown to make whirlpools until he's revealed to be the man marked by flames because of what you're saying. Who's fitting the bill of all these details?
Well, I will say, because you've probably seen some of my theories in the past where I link certain details together, and I've always been talking about the play on Davy Jones' locker because that was always important in the story to me. Like when we see the deep forest, and it says like, the narrator box is like, yeah, this is the deep sea, and they literally say a graveyard of ships is here, and you see the ships in the background. It's where Roger was. And it's where Luffy was when they had the apology Joy Boy glyph and then the other glyph. And then he took the last poneglyph from there.
Isn't that where they both started hearing the Sea Kings start to speak to them? Is when they were going through that shipyard graveyard?
I don't know.
I think it was Roger going down that he heard it, and it was Luffy.
When Roger. No, it was like when they were going down. I think when they heard it.
Yeah,
when he was
going when they were going through the graveyard.
But I think it's really important because it's like the Joy Boy apology letter and the poneglyph were both there, and it's like a metaphor of Davy Jones' locker. And then now we have more relevancy of Davy Jones, so it's like. There's something going. I've been seeing all these pieces, and I don't know how they fit together. Like I know I've showed Threeville a lot of my stuff, but it's gonna happen at some point where it's all gonna fit together, and it's gonna be like, what is going on? But I do think that the man marked by flames. I don't think he could be Davy Jones because it's like, how could he be alive? And if he was alive, why would he not be making bigger moves? Like, why isn't he more in the bigger picture of things by now? So it seems it wouldn't be likely. But I will say that whoever he is, he's acting like he's Davy Jones. So it's almost like he's trying to be Davy Jones.
He's the pirate with the eye patch, you guys.
Right, he's sinking. He's sinking.
Like you're saying,
ship.
like given the information that we have at hand, I remember the conversation that Lafitte and Shiryu had, and he was saying like the man marked by flames, he might be a government man.
Yeah, that's the like oddest possibility, but it is possible. It is like a weird possibility, but it is possible.
Because I don't think that they would say
So,
that.
like, was that
say that just throwing something out there. You know how. Yeah, you know how calculated Oda is. You don't really say much to where it doesn't tie into something else. So they did throw out that it could be admiral. Maybe it is an old admiral, an ex-admiral. You get what I'm saying?
Could be.
It could be
So you raised like a good point or like a good question where it's like, why are we getting introduced this important mysterious figure in the end of the story with a man marked by flames. But then I also think like because I do feel that way sometimes. But then on the other hand, the missing road poneglyph of Fishman Island, that's been a problem for a while, you know? So I guess
Yeah.
Oda's like, oh, to get to this issue at some point. They should have had that road poneglyph by now, but I made it so that it was missing. So
Yeah,
I guess
so it's like it's almost like he's anticipating something where it's like he knows something and he's trying to be like the final thing of like, if you want to get to the One Piece, you got to come to me. It's almost
And
like
let
that's
and
what he's
let's
He's the
doing.
final
And it's like a
emissary.
weird thing because it's like, who is this guy? Like, how does he? And you know my theory. Like, I think that he used a whirlpool to pull away the poneglyph and take it away because it's undersea and he uses whirlpools. And we saw how like there
right.
was like the white strong currents that were going through. So theoretically, he could just go boom, send a whirlpool through, and just whisk it away. Like boom, that's mine now, son, and then just takes it with him. So that's my belief. And so it's possible. Maybe he's a fishman. Maybe he's like really good fisherman karate. Maybe his crew's fisherman. Or maybe he has a power, or maybe he just has a technique that
What
where
if that
he just
log
swings a certain
catfish
way a
is still
sword or
alive?
something. And
I
Really
think
quick, some people are talking about the feedback on the mic. I guess is back. I think they're saying that someone in the call has a stream open, like they're hearing us twice, like a
Yeah, there's
feedback
an
on
echo.
the mic.
Yeah, there's an echo.
yeah, I think it might be no bad. I'm not sure.
hold on.
But yo, while we're in this intermission, let's throw out the idea. SL said that potentially it could be a fishman, right? So what if it's the fishman that was on the rocks crew? What if it's the catfish dude?
I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's
that,
what I was
but
thinking. It
I was
possibly
thinking
could
that
be
too.
him or the one on
Or the
Roger's
one
crew.
that was,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sunbelt. I think it's most likely
Sunbelt,
Sunbelt.
Sunbelt, or the catfish dude?
Or I
I
think his
think
name is
yeah.
Barbell. Wait a minute. Wait, is his name Barbell or is it what was his
it's
name?
Barbell.
Barbell.
Barbell
Yeah,
and
it's barbell.
Sunbell. That kind of goes together, yo. That's kind of crazy. What if they like teamed up? Here we go.
There's
Play
in
put on
collusion.
the ding. Put on the
I
Illuminati.
thought Barbell was one of
They
the
teamed up.
zombies
It's
on
the
Throw the
tag team,
Bark.
the Fishman tag team
But
duo,
I could be
yo.
wrong. I mean, from what I remember, this dude's a giant.
Yo, they're secretly in cahoots, bro.
They're the men marked by flames.
The men marked by flames. That's why all these details
That comes to
align
your
with
old
each other.
theory, Treble.
That's
I
why he has
remember
the
when you
that's why he
said
has
it
the
could be
Nika
multiple
hair.
guys.
It's actually a
The sun
cult,
god
and
Nika
Rouge
hair.
is in on it.
Do you remember that, Eddie?
That makes
Back when you
sense.
were saying like as a far fetched option that the man marked by flames could have been the revolutionaries and multiple guys.
Yeah, because well, as SL said, and you guys have been saying, the details behind the man marked by flames seem so weird. They almost collude and like collide with each other. What if it's not one man? What if the reason why it seems like such strange, like unfitting details about him is because it's not one person; it's a group of people.
What
So
if
like
the
they
men marked by flames is what the Sun Pirates were called beforehand?
Well, he uses that black ship, so he
The
has to
who?
have some sort of crew more than likely to operate that ship. You know, it's not like a small ship; it's like a decent sized ship. Most likely, he has some form of crew.
And
With
not
two
to
things.
mention the ship is supposed to be solid black, right? It's supposed to
Yeah,
be black.
two things though. SL, I got to give you another round of applause. You talking about the whirlpool grabbing the poneglyph? That is genius. I never thought about that. And secondly, just so people understand better, when you guys look at the Japanese, right, for the man marked by flames, I want you guys to know that it's a scar. It's not like a fire tattoo or like a I don't know, like a fire paint or something. It's a
Right.
scar when they say man marked by flames. Because I know some people like they'll say like it's this one guy because his tattoo looks like
Eddie,
fire. That's not what it
Eddie,
means.
hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Because I know you're talking about something that could be kind of cool. So let's think about this. I didn't mean to cut you off, but let's think about this. If it's a scar, like you said, I'm just gonna tie it back to Barbell, man. What if Barbell fought the previous Maramara no Me user and he got fucking scarred? I mean, look at the guy's design. The guy's design looks like he has a little bit of flames on him. So just
And
something
he
to
has
think
the white
about.
hair too.
If we're using a whirlpool and a fishman karate mastery is making the poneglyph move, It just keeps adding up to it being a fishman.
Yo,
You know the
Barbell
reason
and Sunbill though is crazy. I didn't even realize their names like rhyme or like went together so well. I was like, what?
There'll be a third
No.
one named
Yeah, they could be
Dumbbell.
brothers.
Smokey, the reason
They
why
could
I
definitely
like
be
that,
brothers.
I've always loved the idea that Blackbeard actually has that poneglyph from Fishman Island. I love that because then that means Luffy versus Blackbeard is not only about Garp, it's not only about avenging Ace, it's also about Battle for Pirate King. Because if Luffy wants that final road poneglyph, he has to get through the man marked by flames, right? Who better than Blackbeard?
Could have
But
brought the
but
Poneglyph to Pirate
in
Island for
Roger's
safekeeping.
flashback, in Roger's flashback, right? When they went down the no, when they was talking about the last poneglyph, they said that they had already stole a poneglyph from Lin Lin. So Big Mom had that poneglyph for a long, long time, even when Roger was here.
She had
So
3 of them,
we
didn't she?
still got to add that into the equation as well. That Big
Yeah,
Mom was the one
Roger
holding on
took
to that
the
fisherman's.
Overland just like Luffy, and he stole the poneglyph from Big Mom. He took a rubbing. He did the exact same thing Luffy did.
Yeah.
Yes. So Big Mom held on. Big Mom had the fisherman's poneglyph for some time. For
If I had to
some
guess,
time.
she had that poneglyph for almost 40 years. That's what I think. Maybe less. Maybe like 20. But she's had it for a few decades.
That's pretty crazy because that means they had like 3 glyphs there. But yeah, and I do think that Fishman Island is really huge for everything going to the One Piece because like I've always said, like it was myth that Joy Boy was trying to preserve the ancient weapons to a later generation. And I'm adamant about my theory of the road to the sun is what I call it, which is like the pathway to the One Piece because and it being down there at Fishman Island, I think they have to take a sea current to get there and potentially
Yeah.
the starting point that they're going to take or maybe not but could be down near Fishman Island under where the world government is. And it would be
The
fitting
Dragon
that
Stream.
it would be so the idea is like the One Piece is underground / underwater, possibly underground in the red line, and the only way to get there is you have to take like an undersea current to get there because Frankie and Brooke talked about the currents they go all around the world up and down, and they said it would take you potentially up to 2,000 years to resurface it because some of the currents move at a really slow pace to the point where it could take 2,000 years, which means that there
Yeah.
can be stuff from the first and second world in these currents that are just like debris of buildings, ships, all kinds of stuff. And Brooke said it was like there was a myth or a rumor of like, oh, you know, the souls of the dead travel in these currents too. So, and that's another thing that again plays into the Davy Jones thing with the currents and the whirlpools, and it all leads to the graveyard of ships, where it's like there's this center point where all the fish life come, the whales come, and that's why I've always said that in the end of story, Luffy and whoever he's fighting, they're gonna destroy the red line at the Holy Land. That's gonna open up. The Eve Tree will be freed, and in because the Eve Tree grows to the red lines, the Eve Tree will be free. And it's called Sunlight Tree Eve. The Sunlight Tree Eve will be freed, and that's when that is broken, then the seas will come back together, and then that's how we get like the all blue. So, and I really think it's going to be the currents because it follows thematically. Because if you look at like Skypiea, we took the knock up stream. When we Red Mountain, when we went to the Grand Line for the first time, we took a stream up the Red Line Mountain. And then even with Brooke, it ties in with Brooke's dream because when we see them leave Fishman Island, they go with the pod of whales, which actually the whales was what broke the current, the white storm that they almost got caught in. And then Brooke's like, it's Laboon, and he's like, no, it's not Laboon. So I think I could see us I could see us reuniting with Laboon right before we head to the One Piece. Like we reunite with Laboon and he goes and we take the current or whatever with him or something, and we go do the One Piece. That would make a lot of sense and it would tie together. So that's what I'm
Like they
thinking.
need Laboon to get to the One Piece.
I
Yeah.
like that.
And just to add to your list, just to add SL, in that picture when Frankie was talking about it, when they
The
showed the
mural.
picture of the stream, the underwater stream, it looked like a dragon, an underwater dragon, right? And
Yeah.
and so it goes with what you just said, how everything ends up in one place, and that's probably where the One Piece is. And they would need Laboon because if they were to enter that stream, they could not exit on their own power because the stream is that powerful, but it's also slow. And it, like you said, it takes 2,000 years for you to end up on the other side of the world, outside of that stream. So they probably would need Laboon to follow them to push them out of the stream at a certain point that help
That's
them
why.
reach.
Yeah,
That
and
help
that's
them
why I
reach the
think
One
like
Piece.
For me,
that's why I think
it
like the
comes down
poneglyphs.
to simple oceanography, and I think SL explained it beautifully, and so did whoever it was when they were descending down to Fishman Island. I can't remember, but when they were explaining the currents, it's just like the real world. All the currents of the real world converge at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And
All
here's
right.
another. There's
Yeah,
actually a
makes sense.
ton of supporting
Listen,
evidence,
I'm
but like,
sorry.
oh yeah,
I'm sorry, guys.
we're good.
It's almost 3 a.m. So probably wrap up soon. But let's continue this. I don't want to interrupt. Or if you guys have like rapid fire questions, theories, whatever, let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, as I said, it's almost 3 a.m. here, and I gotta get
Yeah, I
up
feel
for
that.
tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But
I get.
I didn't want to interrupt this. Continue though.
No, you're okay. I was just gonna say I won't go into all the supporting evidence because I have compiled like a immense amount, but basically it's like if you look at when so it was a huge narrative moment with Jinbei and Luffy when they transferred the blood, and there was actually an X mark with the blood transfusion, like the blood bags or whatever, and Robin was even in the picture, almost you could say symbolizing like she's reads the poneglyphs. Then you look at the red poneglyphs. The only poneglyphs that are red, they're red like blood. What? It's the road poneglyphs, and they're called what? The road poneglyphs. And then in that chapter, it talks about the road to the sun, and then actually no, I think that's the one from one of the Skypian chapters, but the narrator box says, look, when they're talking about the tube where the blood goes through from Jinbei to Luffy, it's like a tube. They're like, it's so narrow, you couldn't even call it a path, you couldn't even call it a road because it's so small. And then they're like, they tie in, something about the road to the sun. See, I forget the exact words, I'd have to look. But it was almost like symbolic of like, there's going to be this pathway that's similar to a tube that leads to the road to the sun. And we see in Fishman Island, they always travel in these tubes and stuff underwater in these like air pockets. The currents are almost like tubes too. They're like cylindrical. Even when we see them go in the White Strom, it's like a whirlpool and it's like a tube in a way. So you could see it as like there could even be tunnels underground or in the red line that currents pass through. And that could be part of like the tube or the pathway that leads to the One Piece, essentially, is what I believe. And not to mention that Jinbei is a fishman and he has the Sun Pirates tattoo, and he's the one that gives blood to Luffy. So it's like all comes together. There's even way more, but I don't have time to go into all of it. But yeah.
No, I like that, man.
Not
I
to
think that has legs, man.
It's a great theory.
Not to mention the Fishman is one of the two sovereigns.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And like the stuff.
And obviously Vivi. Obviously.
Yeah, and it's like Shirahoshi, the Celestial Sea Kings, the Noah. It all comes together and it seems like this is why I also don't agree with like the emu is like the water, the ocean god or whatever. To me, it seems like so it seems like Neptune is the sea god, or basically the family, somebody related to the fishmen, and it seems like they were an enemy of emu to where it was like, even with the mural, one of the ways you could interpret it is like when Joy Boy died, it was like the sea waged war against emu. So I don't see emu as a sea god. It doesn't really,
considering the Neptune family was in power all the way back for as long as we
and it's possible that they hid the One Piece underwater to stop emu. And on top of that, even if you look at the mural, it says in the earth, within the earth, there was fire. Almost like it's saying like within or deep down underground or underwater, there's fire.
And the best way to reach the core of the earth is the ocean.
Yeah,
This
and
is
not to
for the
mention
roof,
the
or
mother
you got to
flame.
drill through the ocean
Yeah,
if you want to do
The
it that
mother
way.
flame was inside water in Egghead. So if the mother flame can be inside water, then the superior thing, which is the the whatever man, I'm forgetting the word.
part of the Earth's
But
core. Right.
but like it could be the core. That's also another possibility. But the mother
Mhm.
flame was the cheap imitation of the can't think of the word. What is it? The original flame, the eternal flame or whatever. So if the
Right.
mother flame can exist underwater, then so can the eternal flame. You see what I'm saying? So that's
All
Hey,
why it
right,
would
so
be
let,
total.
let me
I
let
want
me
to
tie
add.
this
That's a
in
great
for you,
correlation.
SL.
I'm gonna
Let
give
me
a
tie
fun
this
fact.
in.
I'm passing it to you, Smokey. So, listen to SL, guys. Take notes. He was talking about how in the mural it says within the earth there was a fire. So I was actually doing the
Yes.
Japanese notes on the full 1138 mural. Now in the beginning when it says within the earth there was a fire, the kanji for within is chuni. And that denotes internal location, not a metaphor. So you can easily argue that when it says within the earth there is a fire, it's not saying within the earth as in like, around the world, like metaphorically. It's an internal location, chuni, meaning it's more about inside, like literally in the earth was a fire, not like, like outside around the islands or whatever.
The One Piece is the Earth itself.
Provide
And not
context.
only that, but one of the translations for what Roger said when he said, "I left it there, I left the treasure there," it actually can be read, "I left it at the bottom," like I left it at the bottom of the ocean, and that parallels with Nolan, who said the
Okay.
treasure sunk under the ocean. So that's a parallel where they both got executed. And then on top of that, we have Vegapunk's message where he's like, "Yeah, the most of the old world is underwater. So if you really want to find the secrets, you got to check there. You got to search." And Brooke and Frankie said most of the undersea is like unexplored. It's like there's so much mystery and adventure under the sea. And then Rayleigh,
And
during the
that's
call,
why
he's like, guys, he's like talking to Vegapunk. He's drunk in the bar at the end, and he's like, don't spoil it for them. Right after Vegapunk just talked about the
and that's
world being sunk and the fragmented continents and stuff. It's like, dude, like it seems that the pieces are coming
that's
together, you
why
know?
that's
So
why I
SL,
think
so let me ask you
listen,
this.
that's why I think that the fishermen were not supposed to be they originally were on land. I honestly believe that fishermen the term fisherman was is a new term that was created like experiment. I think that fishermen were experimented on and was sent to live in the water because I think that everything I don't think they are basically I don't think that they are a real race. And listening to what you're saying, how everything fits underwater, it would make no sense for a fisherman not to have possibly come up on the One Piece by now, thinking live that they are fishermen. They live underwater. They could have easily someone should have stumbled on it. If you are a fisherman and you live underwater, that leads me to believe that the reason why the celestial dragons hate the fishermen the most and that the mermaids get the highest bounty out of all the slaves is because they are I think mermaids maybe were real, but I think the fishermen were experiments. That's why when they have kids, their kids could come looking out 4 different types of ways. That is crazy to me. Now there could be some older, you know what I'm saying? There could just be some older doing, but I think
It,
it's more
it,
to it. I
Are you
think
I
it's
will
saying
say,
the
I
because
will
they're
fishermen
say,
not
were?
real.
I will
Huh?
say it's a little bit out there, but I have had the thought that something
It is
happened, like
okay.
maybe they were cursed or something happened in the past.
So
Here's
you're
what
saying the
here's what
fishermen
I
were like
think
mutants or
happened.
something?
I wouldn't be
Hear me
surprised if
out.
Davy Jones was a
I'm
fisherman,
not
especially if they want him to look like in the Pirates of the Caribbean with like the Kraken, like the whole like tentacles. I would not be surprised at all if
Yeah.
Davy Jones was a
Tentacled,
fisherman.
a beard, crab claw, the
Let's
works.
pass
Like
to
a
make this.
mutation or a hybrid. Yeah.
You wanted to say
Yo,
something,
so what
Smokey?
I was gonna say is to support Nomad's theory of the fishmen not being originally from the water and that they adapted to the water, you could chalk that up to an Atlantis story where they get sunk and then they evolve into mermaids, fishmen, and wherever. But going back to
yeah.
LSL, I was gonna ask him when you think about the fire and all that, what if the eternal flame was literally a gift from the god from one of the first world, the old gods, and we got the Prometheus myth? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you could tie it into the mythology too, I guess, in that way. And people have done that already. Like people have like tried to tie that together
I
and
mean,
help out.
Prometheus is in the story. I think he's in the story in several different ways.
I
Oda
think
is
Prometheus is in the
100%
form of
using the
Loki.
myth.
Prometheus is literally named in the story. Remember, Big Mom's homie.
What about Nemo?
Yeah,
What
You could
about
use that
Nemo?
as a crutch. I don't like to say crutch because it sounds like an excuse, right? But you could use that to, I guess, evidence.
I think the whole thing with Loki's story here is basically Prometheus. I mean, he's literally chained up. No matter how many times you hit him, he can't die. That's Prometheus's whole thing.
Prometheus's liver was eaten out by an eagle every day, and it would regenerate at night. So I do agree with what Vincent's saying. Forget the eagle part, but being chained up, and especially to a tree, that
He was
definitely
stabbed
makes
by
a lot of sense.
Cerberus 3 times. It's
Ah,
basically the same thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
that's
Fair.
interesting. All right. Let's find one more little mini topic. What's something that you guys have been thinking about?
I was thinking something about what Loki's devil fruit could be. It's kind of out there, but it kind of relates to the egg that was on Roger's ship. And we were talking about how like Loki could have eaten it and it could have given him the devil fruit's power. That's would kind of be similar to how Big Mom got her power with Mother Carmel. And it makes me think of one possible thing that Loki's devil fruit power could be. We all talk about how it could be a snake or a dragon. I think it might be the Aztec sun god Quetzalcoatl.
Ah, okay.
See, I've heard Quetzalcoatl, but that's from Threeville with his theory for dragon. So
Yeah,
expand on this more.
I mean, I believe in Aztec mythology there are two different kinds of legends of Quetzalcoatl. There is that he is the serpent of creation and the dragon of destruction. So, and I think there's like a devil that Quetzalcoatl had to take on as well. That is similar to how the story's going with Nika and Emu. I don't know all of the facts. I just know that's like there's two main points there. That Quetzalcoatl is the sun serpent, and he has to fight a devil to either save or break the world.
Mm.
All right, so let me throw this question to you, Vincent. So I'm gonna be referencing Threeville's dragon theory here a little bit. So you said there are two types of Quetzalcoatlus, right?
I think that's like two
Interpretation.
different parts of his legend. Yes.
Okay. So if there are two, do you think it could, like you said, end up being Loki and Dragon? And the reason why I'm saying Dragon, if we're talking about a sun serpent, shouldn't the sun serpent be connected to the sun god, who is his son?
Yes, that is would technically be the case. Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. You can continue.
That
Um.
Ego Roger ship is an interesting one because, sometimes when we see Oda do like a one-off, drawing or I don't know, reference to something, you might be able to chalk that up as to, just randomness by Oda. When we see the egg originally in Ed War, Roger versus Shiki, but then we see it again last chapter. So it's definitely going to be something. Now I wouldn't necessarily argue that it would be something of like grand scale. I don't necessarily think it has to be something super important, but it definitely has to be something. The fact that again, like all the way back when he drew Ed War, drawing it again on Roger's ship. But it's even more interesting because this time around was decades before Ed War. In fact, it was 17 years before. Because in this flashback, it was 44 years ago, 1156. The egg is there. And then Ed War was, I don't remember the math, 27 years ago, I think. So that means the egg was on Roger's ship for 17 years.
And you know what the craziest thing about this egg that everybody's talking about that I think some people we gotta acknowledge, or we at least need to make it as the least most likely possibility. Oda could be trolling us, and that egg could be a damn decoration, just like the decorations on the Straw Hat shit.
Oh
Just
man.
there
I'd
for
be so
display, just to
upset
mess with
if that was
us.
the case.
I mean,
What was that?
dragons are important though.
What if it's a crew member sleeping? Like someone has the egg fruit.
Bro, it's obviously Yoshi.
The
Maru.
egghead fruit.
So
That's
who took
Tamago's
care of
dad.
the egg?
Yoshi
That's
piece, man.
very
Who
Tamago's
took care of the
papa.
egg after the Roger Pirates disbanded?
That's a good one.
I will
You know,
say something.
The catch from the egg after they disbanded.
I told you, Yoshi.
Huh?
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
No,
He
no,
took
no.
the egg to
I'm
Elbaf and
gonna
fried
say
it up.
Ultra. Y'all
On a
remember
serious
Jimmy
note,
Neutron? I know
Jimmy
you guys
Neutron.
remember Ultra. That's what's in the egg.
Look,
I think
on a
it's a
serious
beetle.
note, though,
I always thought it
on
was
a
a beetle.
serious many years ago, right? I don't think I'm the only one. I'm sure a lot of people thought this, but I put a video out talking about Roger's egg because in the tree of Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, there's a eagle or like a bird that lives on top of the tree.
Yes,
And in a lot
I
of
know what you're
legends, they
talking
call it a sky god, right? So I was thinking like maybe that egg was brought to Elbaf to then hatch and live on that tree as the sky god. And what makes it more interesting, guys, is that again in Norse mythology, real life, they call it Yggdrasil. And I always remind people this in official One Piece, they called the Atom Tree Yggdrasil too. So Oda might be going like pedal to the floor with the Norse mythology in Elbaf, especially the tree, if he's gonna literally call it Yggdrasil.
I mean, if we look at
I
Loki's
Yeah.
look
design,
at
he
it
But
does have
like
like
this.
also,
You
eel
gotta
you got to
wings
think
understand
about.
on his body.
because not
Also, you
only
got
are
to think
you
about in the episode
guys, we're going too hard here. Somebody else
in
go.
Zoe when they was in Zoe, when Luffy and Chopper, y'all know which episode I'm talking about, where they was playing with the Beatles, and that wasn't the only episode. They weren't the only people in One Piece to play with a beetle. But in this particular episode, they were talking about the Atlas beetle and the Hercules beetle. I know y'all remember what I'm saying. How he was like, "Oh, which one do you like the best?" And he was like, "Oh, the Hercules, I think, or the Atlas." And then he was like, "Well, do you like that more than the One Piece?" And he couldn't make a decision on whether he wanted the One Piece or a freaking beetle. That always stuck
Yeah.
out to me. That always stuck out to me. And that's why when we had that filler episode with the beetle that shoots fire, right? Y'all remember that one early on in when we were still in East Blue. They
Was
had the
that
filler
the
episode where
special with the guys with the sombreros, the brothers?
The
They were trying to
one
catch.
right
Oh, they're
before,
trying to catch
that
the
was the filler
beetle.
right before.
They were trying to
yeah,
catch. Okay.
yeah, he was
I
trying to
thought it
catch
was
it.
when the sombrero guys were trying to catch the beetle from the little girl who she befriended, and the Straw Hats happened to be on that island, and it was all East Blue thing. I
Yeah, the one with the
remember this.
mariachi and luchador. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
Yeah.
episode.
But I was bringing that up just to say that I felt like, okay, that was a really cool filler episode, right? But I also think that since we had that episode in Zoe, and I think there was another episode, I can't think of it now. Maybe it was a past episode, but there was some other. I don't know if it was like not an admiral, but someone in the military. They was playing with a beetle. They were playing with the Atlas beetle. Oh, they said, "Oh, I found the Atlas beetle," or something like that. It was somewhere I seen it, and I'm thinking that in that egg is a beetle, yo. I think it's a beetle.
The
I want
filler,
to say it's a beetle.
the filler that always stuck out to me the most was that one where it was like they went to the battleship island and it was the dragons, and the dragons were there, and the girl could talk to the
Yes,
dragons,
the
almost
Dragon
like
Blood.
personal
Oppies,
things.
Oppies,
That
and the
one
dragon.
always was like the craziest one to me,
The
where I was
girl's
like,
name was
I feel like
Oppies.
there's something to this, even though it's filler. And that's how I've
Yes.
always felt, and that's how I always have thought dragons are so important in One Piece. Like we see this everywhere.
Brother, I feel like
Celestial
there's more to
dragons
the
copied
story
it,
with Strong World,
dragons.
and people say that's a
Yeah.
movie and it's not canon. But I'm like, damn it, it's got so much in it that makes sense.
Hey, on the topic of filler, SL, I DM'd you on Discord. episode 139, right? They have the Rainbow Mist filler, and it's a mysterious fog that is in fact a gateway to another dimension. And in that episode, there's a ship graveyard. And I know you were talking about that earlier, so I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe you could go check it out.
The Florian Triangle. Where the Florian Triangle leads to. That's
Yeah,
a great
I'll
question.
check it out
Where
after
does the
this.
Florian
Yeah.
Triangle lead
They
to?
explicitly say the Floridian Triangle is a graveyard of ships.
Yeah, the Florian Triangle is also another like weird mystery in itself too. Like, it's probably going to be some
But
weird thing that happened in the Void Century or in the first world that like caused it or something. Like, who knows?
Did we ever figure out
but
what that
that
weird creature
goes back
was
to
in
people's
the Florian Triangle? Or was that
The
Zoe?
red eye, no. So I want to add real quick because I was just thinking about this. The red eye in that we see in the anime in Florian Triangle, that was never explained. But you know how people always post like the tall, giant winged looking things from the Florian Triangle with the spears? I see people ask about that
That was
all the
the
time.
Skype and Shadow, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I see people ask that about that all the time. It's the Sky P and Shadow. But to your eye thing, that was never explained.
Yeah,
It's
I
in the
always. Yeah, a long time ago, my theory was
no, that
that
was
that actually had a
oh,
connection to Emu and the Gorosei, or like now we know like they're probably doing like all this like
I
black
mean, one of them
magic and
definitely
stuff.
looked
So that
like
would make
Emu.
more, you could tie it into the black magic. But yeah, I always thought it was like Emu monitoring them because right during that arc was when they also sent Kuma to go kill them. So it almost seemed like it could have been Emu monitoring them. But then what happened was they thought like Kuma might have killed him, but Kuma didn't because he actually
he just
likes
warned them.
Dragon and Luffy
Hmm
and everything, but he was pretending. And then what happened after that was Luffy went off the radar after that, and it was like the whole kerfuffle with everything that happened, like all of the stuff with Impel Down all the way to Marineford, and then after that he was like in hiding for 2 years. So it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
all right.
King
I
J
hate
said,
to break
"No
it to you
Tom
guys.
put the extra L back."
I
What
hate
y'all
to
think
break
about
it to you
that?
guys. I got a dip. It just hit 3:06 a.m. This was very fun. Definitely, of course, we're gonna do another open mic stream here soon. But I think we're finally getting the chapter this week, so we're gonna have like back to back to back to back streams.
Did we
But
get into predictions for this chapter?
bro, I think we talked about it for like 30 seconds, but there's just so much in
Yeah,
what
like,
to talk about.
I'm saying no God Valley. Oda blue balls us. He goes straight to Loki taking to the sea and fighting Shanks. Boom.
Let's do
That's
that
my
then.
last thought on that.
I
Let's
say
do that.
we hear of
blue
Zebek's
balls,
death
baby.
in this chapter.
For the goodbyes this stream, I'll go ask you guys this. You guys got 30 seconds, 11:57. Will we have God Valley? If not, like, what are we going to have? And then we'll wrap it up here.
Well, I
All
just
right.
answered my answer.
All right, Vincent. Are we getting God Valley this chapter? Are we not? What will we see in 11:57?
No God Valley this chapter. We're probably going to skip it, and probably at the end of the chapter, we'll see Loki's reaction to Zebek's death and awaken his conquerors.
I think we go. Yeah, I think it's no God Valley where I think we focus more on Loki this chapter.
I'm
No
conflicted.
And
God
where he
Valley.
actually
We might get some excerpts, probably people alluding to it, like the fallout from it,
He
but
also
probably that's stiffening the resolve for Loki to want to go out on his own after Zebek gets killed at God Valley.
yeah.
I'm
There's
conflicted.
gonna be
I
more
want to
focus on it.
say, honestly, we've been waiting so long. I want to see it. So I guess my hopium just hopes that there's gonna be, we're gonna get it eventually.
Get
So you
ready
know
for
what?
the
If
Oda
it's not
blue
yet,
ball, SL.
oh well.
You're
It's gonna be
hoping that
eventually.
it's
So
going
either
nowhere.
way,
We
I'll just
can't.
have to
At
wait.
least somebody, I hope
We shouldn't
someone
see
like
it
brings
from
it up
Loki's
or at least
flashback.
mentions
That's the
it.
problem.
Listen, I'm a dragon
We
fan.
shouldn't see it.
I've learned patience. Okay, I'm a dragon fan.
Yeah.
I've learned patience.
He's
So I'll
probably
wait.
It
still
should be. It
facing the
should be
East
from
right now.
Dragon. It should be from Dragon's flashback when we get the God Valleys.
It should be from
For
Garp when Whitebeard talks to Garp.
or
He's got
Garp
him
or
trained
Dragon.
up. That's where it should
Garp,
be. We should get the God Valley
Garp or
flashback
Dragon.
from Garp's perspective.
Because Dragon was in the military, so he was there during that. That's what led him
Dragon
to
would have
quit.
been
So
16 at God Valley.
no, I
Yeah,
think
you would have
yes, he like 17, 16, yeah. But he would still been there though.
I agree, Nomad. I just want the perspective from Guard. I don't want it from Dragon. I want it from Guard
Yeah,
first.
well, we could get that because Blackbeard has Pudding, so he could be like Pudding, take out his memories, and then we see Garp's memories. That's how I
Yeah,
always
that
thought it
is
was
that
going to
is
happen
He
good.
for a
has
long time. I thought
Lafitte.
it was
He
going to be
can
Garp.
hypnotize Pudding.
Pudding.
He can coerce
Pudding.
her into doing what he wants. So you're
Yeah.
right, SL. But I'd rather it be a Blackbeard walking into the chamber. So Garp, tell me the story. Oh, by the way, I'm Zebek's son.
Yeah,
What?
that's what I'm thinking too.
Not
Like,
yet.
surprise! His legacy
Come on, SL.
lives.
We gotta have fun with
I'm,
the story. Can't
I'm
be
gonna
all
take
down
later.
the tubes.
I'm gonna take the SL route. I'm just gonna be on a hopium, every type of copium you could find. I'm just gonna say yes, God Valley flashback to take us outside. Plus, you guys said no. I want to say no, but I'm just gonna say yes just to go against you guys because petty. We're gonna get the God Valley flashback. We're gonna see
He's
Zebek
Eddie B. Charlo.
named
He's the
Max.
celestial dragon of Petty. Makes sense.
We're gonna Zebek named attacks. We're gonna see someone get killed. We're gonna get Zebek's lineage. We're gonna see Blackbeard born. All that, bro.
I will say the last thing I'll say, I think we were cooking when we said Sunbell and Barbell is related to the man marked by flames. I'm serious because
that's been a
every
theory.
time I've
That's
done a
been a
poll,
theory.
I've
I'm
done
telling you, the
polls
men,
for like
the men
over
marked
a
by
year.
flames are cults.
Bro,
Is a
every
cult.
time I've done a poll for the Man Marked by Flames, the options I always put was like X Rocks Pirate, X Roger Pirate, Fishman Crew. Those all would align together. Like that's like the only thing you can think of right now. It's like there's nothing else that makes sense right now other than that for me personally.
Fun fact:
Like, I
catfish
don't
in
know.
Japan myth can predict earthquakes through their whiskers. That's what Wishcash from Gen 3 and Pokemon is based off of.
Wishcash.
Yep, Wiz Cash.
Oh
Hey,
man.
I
yeah,
love that
and the one
Pokemon.
in the Roger was a catfish, right? Or was that the rock one?
No, it was a catfish.
Which one?
Wasn't the
Yeah,
one?
but Sunbell and
Wasn't
Barbell, man. And then Barbell
yeah?
has
Was
like the Sun God Nika
I
hair,
think
bro. Come on.
I think Barbell would be the one that could predict earthquakes if I was guessing. He's more of a catfish more than Sunbell. Y'all got to remember, Toy Animation screwed up Sunbell, and he whitewashed
they
him.
did.
They whitewashed him in one episode. Bro
Bro, they
looked like a human.
everyone.
I want to know what happened to Barbell's hair between those 5 years, because we see him on Hachinosu. He's got a full head of hair and beard, but we see him in God Valley. He's bald and angry.
He's got that awakened.
Bro got old and got a haircut, dog. He's
He got
aging
that
like
Gear
the rest of
5.
us.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up here. Thank you all for hopping into the open mic. Everyone watching the stream, liking the stream. Any new subscribers, thank you all. We're gonna be back for 11:57 spoiler streams, short summary, long summary, and then the chapter reaction stream. Take care, everybody. God bless everyone here. You guys are amazing. So fun talking about One Piece all the time, and I look forward to another open mic. So thank you, Smokey, Vincent, Nomad, Damon, and SL. Have a nice morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. Peace, everybody.
Ciao.
Peace.
All right. And then just finalizing it with a prayer chat. Thank you all for being here. God bless. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. God, I pray. I know you hear me, Jesus Christ, the one I adore and love most above all things. I pray that you take care of Sway Shocks and Abigna and DS and King J and Dawn of Ascension and Smokey and so many more people, RBBP. I pray on behalf of them. I pray you take care of the beautiful cat, Tyson. Please heal the cat. Please heal all of our pets, all of our family members. Keep us strong, strengthen us, give us the utmost amount of peace, wisdom, prosperity. I glorify you, Christ Jesus. Amen.
If the world hates you, just remember that it has hated me first. If you belong to the world, then the world would love you as its own. But I chose you from this world, and you do not belong to it. That is why the world hates you. Whoever hates me hates my father also. They would not have been guilty of sin if I had not done among them the things that no one else has done. As it is, they have seen what I did, and they hate both me and my father. They hated me for no reason at all.